We can even do it right now. Guess what? I did it right now.
Yeah, I figured. I figured that was coming.
Wait.
Luckily, I already hit my record button. Anyway, hi. Welcome to Rain. Session 24. Yes, just posted 23 today. 24. I would make a joke about there being an episode of Rain for every hour of the day, but every episode of Rain is like 4 hours long, so it does not really work out that way.
You can multitask.
Yeah. Once we get to 30 or 31 episodes, then you can have an episode for every day of the month, but for now, we're here. And real quick, before we get into the bills, I would like to shout out some of our patrons, like Added Harp, Blackest OG, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV9000, Starlight, Legendary Balls Under, Liam Kessler, Rise of Kenji, Robin Trevor, some guy named Bob, and Varian the Crow. Thank you very much for your support, guys, gals, non-binary pals. And now we are in the rain. It's not raining.
Like rain.
No, that was early this week.
Yeah.
For 3 days
Oh yeah,
straight.
you were in the fucking thunderstorm, weren't you?
Oh, you too, huh?
No, we didn't have any thunder and lightning. It just, rained through 3 days
Rain
straight.
3 days straight over here as well.
And Mother Nature is weird. All right, so it is the eventide after your ice cream social. Many of you have come back congratulatory from many fun times, and some of you have come back with more wound boxes filled than when you left. So I want to immediately jump in there as you were kind of like, you've got some time before the dinner hour, and obviously Logesh is coming back, in presumably... I like how I don't know how well the recording's going to capture it, but I think I heard the oven beep, and then Lucky just yells, "Cornbread!" All caps. That's okay. He doesn't have to be here for this part yet. But Logesh is coming back, obviously, with, either having to have removed his, shirt or wearing a torn shirt from being cut with a sword and, bloody and bandaged and so on.
Yep.
And previously, there was discussion, so I do think actually where this starts, in addition to probably a couple of, your other, members of the household around who were not at the ice cream social to see, asking concernedly. But I do want to say that while the thing with the table definitely still happens, Moira at some point probably, while you guys are all shuffling back in and stuff, makes an aside comment, mostly to Leslok, but loud enough that everybody can hear, of like, "Well, my lord, I know you brought me on as a fencing instructor, but we haven't really been focused so much on the entire household. Are you entirely sure some of your relatives don't need a remedial course on fencing? Particularly the part about parrying or blocking?" As I also recall at breakfast, Sir Konrad was injured in something.
This right here, none of your business, Moira.
Unfortunately, I didn't think he was thinking with his sword, at least the one in his hand. Anyway,
I want to hear that from you.
Well, this is why we do practice blocking. However, I apologize, Sir Logesh, but, again, turns to Leslok, are we want to be concerned?
Inos will, pop in. I think Lady Moore was just concerned that every time she sees us, more and more of us are getting injured in one way or fashion.
It is true. I have noticed. If we don't want to cover blocking, I could recommend, she actually, tugs the collar of, she's wearing, a heavy mantled, leather and canvas coat. I would recommend, going out perhaps a little more well-armored. I can be quite certain, unless he changed his ways a lot since I last saw him, that you probably never saw Leofric go out without, a heavy coat.
Yes, I was wondering why Logesh was not wearing a plate. Your form was good, though you didn't actually...
plate at an ice cream social.
I mean, usually you're supposed
Cavalier.
to strip down in a duel, but that's why you wear something light. You can get away with it. Also,
Your form
actually,
was good, but you weren't trying anything specific, so...
At this point, Logesh will put his head in his hands and just go, "Okay, clearly you guys are not understanding the symbolism here, so I'm just going to do what my doctor recommended and go lie down."
Thank you.
That's a good one.
I will pointedly look at, my brain just kind of shit itself. Konrad as well.
What?
You two?
I promised 24 hours of rest, and I've done that.
This is why I drink. This is why I drink.
I'll do a favor and make them more potions.
Drinking sounds good.
So they at least drink something that helps them.
That's probably true. I think dinner will be in about an hour. Do I need to go out and run and get some bucklers? Some small shields? Something? Anything?
No.
Your lordship, I'm fit. I've heard around the house that you're actually a pretty good hand with a sword, though in most cases you probably shouldn't need to use it, but if there's anything you want to brush up on,
I appreciate the offer. I'm not sure
Alright.
today's a good time for it, but another time.
I do not think his intended will stab him.
Are you sure about that?
No, not 100%. That's why I said think. Also, be with a spear, not a sword.
Oh, lovely. That means she'll have reach.
Omega?
Nicola is
But
going
Moira
to sit
just
down and
no,
start
that's in
drinking
character.
brandy.
Moira just starts muttering something under her breath and I think reaches into her coat, pulls out a leather tool roll of blacksmith's tools, and just probably mutters something in a Norlish dialect. It sounds awfully like a prayer to ask somebody to look out for you guys.
Yeah, actually, no. Thank you. That actually reminds me. Nicola is going to go up to his room and start drawing up plans. I have to make compi. Is that the plural? Compi? Compasses?
Compasses. We want to be careful about saying it the other way.
Yeah.
Alright, commerce
Oh,
is the
right.
dictate.
Yeah.
Compasai. Whatever.
It's not. It is definitely not compassi. I know that.
Rather than the other way around.
Anyway, I just want to take this to the table. Yes, I have really high amount of sword for Leslok. I'm also never going to take expert or master die for it.
I'm
That's
never going
fair.
to
I
take
think
sword.
she's just,
Yeah, because it's
If anyone tries to duel me, I can make fun of them for trying to pick on a cripple.
I
I'm
can't comment.
surprisingly on
Logesh
Moira's
ha-
side here. It's like, why are all of you getting injured so much?
I mean, I can tell you out of character, for the reasons that Moira specified in character, I believe this system is designed for you to be wearing more armor and carrying shields more. Could get you some bucklers are very compact.
I think Wargman could afford a shield.
Honestly,
What?
the only time I've been injured was when we were surprised attacked at a melee, so I'm feeling fine.
Didn't you also get your head bit by the wolves back in time?
Yes, but I was protected with through most of it with a helmet. I only took one killing.
Yeah, I think the one time we remembered to wear a hat was the wolves.
Exactly.
Oh,
2 DR hats for the win.
I'm the one that's if I'm gonna get into a fight, I'm just gonna preemptively wear armor anyway. But
Oh wait, no, wait. It's a spell. I actually have to look at it. The casting time is probably not an hour, though.
Let's see. Leather armor is light, and like I said, you can interpret that as because it's neck
that's
down.
7
You can
hours,
interpret
maybe.
that as a heavy coat. Brigandine is for your torsos, also light.
Wait a fucking minute.
I gotta double check though about the weight of a
Oh,
shield.
but to be fair, Lucky, I think I did actually have the least damage. It was just all centralized on one arm.
Of course it's centralized on one arm. You only got one arm.
True facts.
Fair. Yeah, because
Clearly, I need to make a fucking soulcraft spell Phantom Limb that lets people missing limbs or lens temporarily use them.
That could
That's
be fun.
already a spell.
The what?
Well,
Well,
lifeless limb lets you do a limb. I think he's talking about basically getting psychokinesis for a little bit.
I'm working on it.
Ghost limb.
I'm making a robot arm.
Also, yes. So, shields of all varieties don't, unless they're a tower shield, they don't count as the armor restrictions.
Oh, okay.
It's just they use a hand.
I use a two-handed weapon technically, so no shield for me.
You also have one. You are surprisingly, I believe, one of the least injured members of the party.
I'm fine.
I don't like getting in. I don't like getting up with people.
Yeah.
Up close with people.
No,
See,
Leslok's
I
pretty
try
good
that
because
too, but
Leslok
then
has
I get
defensive
attacked.
magic and usually doesn't draw aggro to himself. It kind of the same thing as Nicola's situation, but honestly, for you, Inos, your weapon of choice with the long chain means that you have reach and defensive ability. You mostly play crowd control, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, if you, I think all of you could easily afford a buckler or a kite shield, even, let alone a small wooden shield or even a big wooden shield.
I go for a buckler usually.
I want a Deku shield. No.
I mean, I guess our equivalent of that is
It'd probably be a buckler.
there is a special shield device that I believe only elves can make. Well, I know how to make it.
Gotta work
Gemstone
on
of
fairy
metal, probably something gray or clear.
Gray or clear? How about a quartz? No, that's probably more earthy.
I mean, there's a couple different kinds. You could do
Let me look up some types of quartz here.
smoky quartz.
Because quartz is often mixed with stuff, so.
There's smoky quartzes. There's a few different kinds of agates. Like you can get like black agates.
There's gray spinels.
Another fun one is onyxes.
I was thinking onyx.
Onyx is very good.
There's gray spinels and tourmalines.
What are we doing for?
Gemstone
Gemstone of metal.
Yeah.
Do you mean metal as in the music genre, or like
No,
metal as in the...
no.
No,
as
as
in
in
the
the-
element.
Yes.
Okay.
Rad.
Yeah.
Genius. I'm curious about that one. Hang on.
It's I believe it's quartz that grows from ferrous ore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that'd make it perfect for metal.
Yeah, for metals. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would work.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, okay. People also call it fire quartz. Interesting.
Yep.
I love learning.
It's shiny.
I'm trying to actually find like a Wikipedia or something. See where you can find it. Oh, it'd help if I was in the Wikipedia page, not the fucking. Not the images. Ferrugenius quartz, Mindats.
But yes, it sounds like nobody has any heavy plans, but you've got your time period before supper.
Well, I need to start planning out my build. They said they were leaving in a couple of days, so I need to get that done.
Oh, sweet.
I've already said that Logesh is absconding back to his room.
Yeah. Where I assume you are laying down.
Yep. And not taking any visitors.
Yeah, no, even in German, they just call it iron quartz. Yeah, I'll have to find some.
What about the A-team?
No, you have to find them. Then you might be able to hire the A-team.
I'm referring to Axe and Aren.
I mean, Konrad's just waiting there for dinner.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I'll go read a
he said
book.
earlier, Conrad's just gonna sit at the table and wait. If you want, you might get some pre-dinner goodies like hot cup of tea, fresh water, something. But yeah, good.
Inos will, slide into a dinner seat and address everyone. So, what's everyone's plans for the evening?
I have to finish.
Go, Dallas.
I have to finish a project I'm working on by tomorrow.
Is
I will
this
be doing
at the
that.
dinner table?
I would assume so.
Okay, so we're just skipping. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had anything. Nobody said they had anything to do. So Logesh, you are probably receive a knock from a servant when it's come to dinner time.
Yeah. Yep.
Dinner is served, sir.
Yep.
It is
Just
me,
sit down.
Dorman. John Dorman.
Sit down. Eat my foods.
Alright.
Normal stuff.
The cooks have probably prepared something hearty on account of the story circulating about Konrad and now Logesh being injured. Heavy soups, lots of meat. Yeah, probably some liver and onions.
What? How many days has it been since the melee?
Since the melee? Let's see. We're a day after the festival, and that was day 3, so 3 full days, I think?
Okay, then yeah, this is my first official day of being not injured.
Ah, you finally would have gotten rid of all your shock. Okay.
Yeah.
And technically, while none of the servants were privy to that conversation, earlier when the thing with Aurelia was discussed, also I believe Nicola made an extra order for some fortified. So everybody gets
Yes.
heavily fortified,
iron.
bread, thick, heavy soups, lots of
Good
vitamin-rich
lots of
fruit,
fish.
vegetables, that kind of stuff.
Fish.
I mean, yeah, you're in a
good,
coastal city, so fresh fish is very easy.
Nom, 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 nom.
Fish has them good chemicals in it.
So yes, at
Fun
the
fact,
table as you're eating,
Oh,
I don't have any plans for the evening.
Oh, you don't have any plans for the evening? Good.
What the hell is your problem?
Oh boy, at dinner, I think everybody goes silent.
Oh,
You said
Logesh
you wanted
doesn't
to see
respond
me
either.
after. You said you wanted to see me after the social, and then you go up to your room.
Well, yes, I wasn't planning exactly to be run through with a sword at the social. So yes, I would have had to take a moment to sit down and take a break.
All right.
But after dinner, we need to talk.
Okay. Is this going to be just normal talking, or is it going to be energetic talking? Are we going to get in a fist fight, dude?
A little bit of both.
Okay. We'll give a glance over at Nicola.
Nicola has his face it is in one of his hands. He's just like, just don't kill each other.
I imagine that like Nicola has his one good hand kind of raised up when he's got his hand in it, and is more wine is arriving.
Oh no, Nicola still has his bottle of brandy from earlier. It's just like by his legs at this point.
Yeah, well now I have something going on this evening, it seems.
Apparently.
And throughout it all, the Marquess remains silent.
Well, Konrad, are you planning on going out overnight to continue looking? Wait, did he actually explain he was looking for Silver Tongue? I forget. Because again, would in the information that Logesh gave Inos from Konrad, would that have come up?
I think it was only an aside in the club, so if Logesh gave you the short version, probably not, because he left the room at a point.
Okay. And it's like, well, no, I am talking.
Okay.
This would be this is merely a favor, if you would. But I would ask, if you do plan on, I would ask that you would save. I was gonna say nightly activities, but that gives it more of a sore air, doesn't it? But whatever those are, until tomorrow night, I do think I can make something that would at least help you, and at least alleviate some of the concern others would have, if you would not mind.
I wouldn't mind. Most of what I was planning on doing, and for at least tomorrow night, was investigating. I got 3 names to follow up on. Notable look over at Leslok.
That you do.
How the hell did you get that one, by the way?
Save this for time. But can we have this conversation not at dinner?
Well,
by the way, there are like a dozen people at this dinner table who are probably doing a tennis match right now. So yes, I think the Marquess has a right of it. You guys are.
Nicola will say this out loud because he is probably partially drunk at this point. Oh, what a surprise! A Marquis avoiding confrontation again. Swig of brandy.
I feel like at least, I don't want to name them all, but probably 4 different people kick Nicola in the shin.
You deserve more.
The people on side, someone gets up, slaps him on the head, and someone just beans him with a bread roll.
Thank you.
All right.
Aurelia casts a soul-seeking missile on a bread roll.
No.
It somehow cuts you.
I have a dagger, and I will use it.
I think at this point, Lord Eberhard fully coughs and is like, Your Lordship, yes, perhaps we should cut dinner short and perhaps retire to the study. The young ones can, go to evening lessons or bed. Kind of peers around the room at them. Are any of you still young enough to have a bedtime? Teenage muttering, grumbling, etc. But yeah, if nobody else has anything to bring up at dinner, yes, it's probably a fast-paced and quiet evening meal.
Yes, that's just what it's I'd rather not overlap everyone's problems with each other's when they don't have any understanding of what's going on for them.
Good old young adult conflict.
I feel like at this point in the conversation, especially if Leslok actually says that out loud, Moira definitely would trade a significant look with Inos at this, with a quirked eyebrow, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Inos will just kind of, put his head, put a hand up in mock surrender. His other hand has wine, because boy howdy.
Yeah.
No. Someone needs to get this bottle of brandy away from Nicola.
I will take it from you, because I'm not drinking.
I suspect your sister will probably, if it's by your leg, your sister will probably, pocket it and pass it off to a servant. This needs to be chilled. Actually, no, I imitate your accent, so she's way more Scottish. This needs to be chilled. It was a couple weeks ago, but it was something he said about not worrying you guys or not bothering you or something.
I vaguely remember this. Konrad said something very aggressively that, no
one noticed he was doing anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
And phrased it in a way that I can't remember. It was very aggressive. I can't remember exactly what it is.
It tickled something of Logesh's fancy.
I'm trying so hard to remember what Moira is referencing when talking about what she said to Inos. Because it's I remember she said something about this, but I can't remember the exact thing she's referring to.
I mean, you weren't in that conversation, so you should probably roll empathy at the dinner table to see if you pick up on this.
Yes, I am
conversation.
doing
I remember it being, it was something to do with basically he cared about the family more, is what he intonated.
Not necessarily the family, but like about legacy. 5s? 8s.
Eights.
There
No,
it is. Sorry. I had that eye closed for a second.
That might have been part of it.
Yeah, no.
From what I remember, it was Konrad subtly mentioning that he was after the Silver Tongue without saying he was after the Silver Tongue. And I think he was saying it to Leslok because Leslok would know, but then it's gave a slight glance at Logesh because he wouldn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I think Lucky is correct. That there was a slight remark about, Konrad doing something nobody noticed, and he was doing this.
And and Conrad's kind of phrased it in a hostile manner, I guess.
Yes,
Well,
that is Konrad's
was injured
default
and
mood.
intoxicated, so
I would say less hostile, more passive aggressive.
yeah, probably.
Probably, but it was negative.
Konrad is usually very snarky, as opposed to say Leslok, who is deadpan. Anyway, speaking of which, Leslok, like I said, you could pick up on this. First of all, you've successfully rolled empathy, and you've got a couple of sets. You understand that there's some hostility between Logesh and Konrad, mostly on Logesh's end, presumably for whatever made him leave the room last night.
I gathered as much.
You've definitely got that one, just so we're all clear, because conversations and so on. You're especially because of some stuff that was going on with breakfast and some of Inos' comments. You're picking up that it seems like at some point him and Moira had a private conversation, which you do not know the text of, but it seems like we have moved on from maybe this morning being a little tense to now we're at a point of we're starting to
friendly
trend back
jabs
towards camaraderie where Moira has expressed genuine concern for, yourself and other of the young people in this house, and maybe that was one of the things that was part of this private conversation, which she is referencing with Inos.
Maybe that explains the thing that Konrad felt that night.
You would also probably notice a slight amount of hostility from Nicola.
Also, yes,
Sure.
Nicola, that I don't think you needed empathy to roll, but to remind you, Nicola has expressed several passive-aggressive statements directed at you, and appears to be slightly in his cups.
He might be a little bit more loose-lipped because he is, drunk as a skunk.
It's really good brandy.
I was doing the thing of, okay, so what thing did I do? What thing did I not do has made him actually have this grudge against me right now? And it's
Well, like I said, I believe after all of this deep, intense, interpersonal drama and subtext, you guys can retire to the house's plot room with the great big table of plot you all sit around, and probably should talk about a few of these things.
Yes.
I probably will retire to my room because I think even intoxicated Nicola will realize I should not work with hammers and metal while intoxicated. That's probably bad.
I guess you could join us in the study.
I love you, Marquis, but I would not contribute anything worthwhile while I'm in this state. State?
If that's what you believe, go.
I mean, we go dump him in water for a little while. That would get rid of it.
Funnily enough, that was going to be Lord Eberhard's solution of, perhaps if your court physician has forgot himself, sir, we can fetch the ice bucket.
Very well.
You have permission to do so if you see fit.
Let's see. You guys don't talk with Lord Eberhard a lot, but he's been here the whole time, and honestly, he is your court-appointed steward, and or not your steward, your castellan, the captain of your guard. Yeah, he's probably gonna he'll be slightly nice to Nicola because Nicola is a or once upon a time was a thin, scholarly boy, but yeah, he'll definitely
No, he needs it.
Yeah, probably go for a presents you with a pail of cold water to from the well to douse yourself in, and if you can't accomplish that, will honestly it would probably be Everhelm, his son, or his brother Tancred, who would go for the splash, but somebody will splash some cold water in your face if you can't do it yourself.
Okay. Nicola will be slightly more presentable and more wet.
Mm-hmm. All right, so like I said, you can convene for the plot room, the room of plot.
The room of plot.
You know, the one that has your big whatever map of the local area rolled out on the table at any given time. There's a bunch of knives stuck in it for some reason.
What we need is we need little crow figurines to put on it. That'd be rad.
Oh, you should definitely have little.
I think a crow fits Leslok.
But Inos will lurk against the wall somewhere. I don't know if I'm actually going to have a lot to actually add to this conversation, but I will be present.
You'll lean against a bookshelf.
Shelves.
This reminds me, I have to write a fucking tabloid article on the Ice Cream Social and send it to that rag.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Tails will strike again.
After what I feel is an in-character slightly awkward silence, once again, Lord Eberhard will sigh a little bit and be like, all right, gentlemen, I understand. We're all young. We all think we can do anything in this world. But I think dinner has made it clear that a lot of you are going about on your own projects, on your own time, and if not the household, perhaps your Marquess should be better informed. And if, it truly is your own personal matter, that's between you and your honor, I guess.
I mean, we are leaving the following day, right?
No.
We got a couple days.
No,
You guys, you have an
while.
ambiguous 3 or 4 days before
I
the
thought it was
prince
the following.
contacts you. Yeah, you have a loose amount of time.
All right, then.
But yeah, after that, Lord Eberhard will probably turn to you, Leslok, and be like, should I send for tea, your lordship?
Enos is gonna cut in and point to Logesh and just say, speak.
Oh, we're definitely going to need some tea.
Something extra strong.
I'm also assuming, by the way, unless otherwise specified, this is going to be a meeting of team adults only.
Yes.
Yeah, I assume the teenagers will be outside the door listening in.
There will be another inconspicuous bird at the window.
At least one of them will be.
Something like that.
I don't think she needs to try the bird trick.
So, you all know me. You all know that I don't socialize much. I don't talk much. I tend to just do my own thing. But, not like a certain other someone's doing their own thing. Pointed look at Konrad.
Rolls his eyes.
I believe, Sir Logesh, the time for such barbs has passed. I think we are putting it all out in the open, or I suspect that Inos shall wrap you up with his chain and sit upon you.
Yeah, I feel like that might happen. Okay, so, brutal honesty then. Konrad, what the fuck were you thinking?
Well,
Are you stupid?
no.
Then explain it in a way that makes sense. Why you're masquerading as some vigilante. And also going to the point of even saying, yes?
To keep my identity a secret so I don't draw any dishonor on the house, maybe?
I definitely think that would be preferable, yes, to the alternative.
Yes, that part is understandable. I'm asking you the root why.
You want to know why. All right. It's 'cause I failed father.
And because, in your opinion, you failed your father,
Yes.
you are putting yourself in dangerous situations.
I
where-
am looking for something of his.
Is that more important than staying alive?
I wasn't gonna go get myself killed.
It sure as fuck seemed like it.
How does it seem like it?
Well, Enos will cut in here. You did go off without telling anyone to go eventually fight an unknown number of thugs, without your preferred weapon and unarmored.
I was not unarmored. I had leather armor. I knew exactly how many men I was gonna fight, because I'd been purposely night after night making sure that I would be fighting as few as possible.
Enos shakes his head at that. You did not know. You made an attempt to lessen the number, but you had no way to control actually how many men would be in any situation at any time. Did you kill them? Did you incapacitate them?
I killed a few of them, yes.
No, I
they
mean
attacked me.
No, he means in the lead up. I mean, no, before. Or did you just make them maybe wander around a bit more?
Yeah, I had them out there looking for me while I went to their base.
And so they could have came back at any moment.
Did you purposely set it up so that you would know that it would be a while before they got back? Did you make it so, I don't know, set up any contingencies to have these guys be distracted until you were done with your business before coming back to reinforce the situation?
I know how they were patrolling the area of the city. They should not have come back unless they were alerted.
And did you have the means to make sure they weren't alerted?
Well, I was going to go in there, do my thing, and get out of there before they were alerted.
How well did that turn out for you?
Well, none of them showed up while I was there.
Just so we're all caught up, says Lord Eberhard. I assume we are referring to an incident that was reported this morning of a bar fight down in the Salt District that resulted in the arrest of several unruly gentlemen who appeared to be engaged in some sort of smuggling or stealery.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
The other thing that greatly annoyed me, I feel like, as I said, I should get out before this gets any worse, or before I reach over there and start shaking you. So if you remember, Konrad, when we showed up, I was acting under my capacity as, was it Cavalier? Just the bodyguard for Leslok. And of course, seeing my dear cousin being so injured, I was of course concerned. However, when you throw out the line of, no one noticed or cared about what I was doing, so I just did it.
Yes. I think I said something to that effect. I was rather injured and intoxicated at that time.
Intoxication is not an excuse. You are
Yes,
less
it is.
inhibited, so you are... Nicola?
We can say he forgot himself. Many more drastic things can happen. Are you certain, Sir Logesh, you cannot allow it to pass as a part of brotherhood? I almost said brothership. I'm fucking losing my mind.
Because of the brothership
Good.
that I find it so.
Also, you said it.
just picturing this serious conversation. Cornbread's delicious!
Sorry.
I always say, like,
No, it's all
Loth does sound he's, like, speaking in a can, but that might be just the mic
I
thing.
put my head over my hands for that.
I mean,
He added a little you might
before
have a
that.
little extra echo today, but it's fine. We don't need to think
It's
too hard
fine.
about that right now.
My bad.
It doesn't matter.
So anyway, going back, it's because I care about you so much that I wouldn't say rightly. I understand that this is illogical, but that's how emotions are. I am upset with you, Konrad, for thinking that we do not notice or care about you. If you had mentioned any of this, I would have been happy to assist, albeit as best as I can. I am not one for subtle vigilante maneuvers.
I don't think any of us really are, sir. It says, Tancred Ferran. I know a few things about hunting men, but it's more in a context of being at home.
So
Inos says nothing.
that's fine. So, Konrad, let me just put it to you like this, out of character. What the fuck is Konrad's younger brother's name is?
Hurin.
Konrad, thought experiment. You're minding your own business, and then you find out that Hurin is badly injured. And when you find out why he's badly injured, it's because he couldn't trust you to have his back, and so went off on his own and nearly got murked trying to avenge or make up for the fact that they failed your father. How would that make you feel, Konrad? I'm sorry, Omega, my in-character slang is terrible. I'm not good at roleplay.
It's okay. Conrad called you dude earlier.
He did!
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I've just noticed a little.
it was the best
He's
take
right,
ever.
Daddy-o.
Yo,
My eyes
please
are
don't
bleeding.
talk about the bee's knees.
All right, then.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
Once we're all
Go stop the fire.
once we're all healed, then we can go out to the trading yard and beat the shit out of each other.
Oh, no.
You're
well,
right.
since-
I would be mad, but I would also wonder why he didn't mention it. I wouldn't just assume that he did it for no reason. I didn't keep it from everyone for no reason. I didn't keep it from everyone at all. My brother knew I was doing something. Look over
Oh.
at Leslok.
Oh, turn to Leslok.
Everybody rotates to the
Turn to
Marquess.
Leslok.
Yeah. Hold on, where is it?
But the reason I was doing this alone is because it was, I won't say an individual project, but it was to get you not involved so that, my brother, look at Leslok, or you, look at Logesh, or my cousin, look at Inos, or even you, Nicolodeon, got drawn into it and implicated.
Well, if one thing's for sure, Konrad, you're stubborn and a complete idiot.
Whatever, I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
but sadly he wouldn't be Konrad if he wasn't.
It's like, no matter what you do, Konrad, no matter what you do, we are going to be implicated into it, whether it is for good or for ill. And the sooner you get that idea through your thick head, probably the better off we will all be.
So,
Master Inos has the right of it.
I probably have done a terrible job of explaining it.
No, I think you did pretty good, but you gotta remember, Konrad's very stubborn.
As I
despite
think
how it seems like I want
do,
to
good.
break you over my knee right now, I do care about you, Konrad.
Good luck with that. He's behind 500 swords.
Fuck off.
As the like I said, I think the eldest adult here, the most senior and experienced of you, like I said, Eberhard kind of I think takes the position of mediating a little, and he says, I think Master Inos has the right of it. So Konrad, he kind of, pauses for a second, stares manlily into the fire. I understand very much the emotion of feeling like you failed him. I think all of us have had to grapple with that over these past 3 years.
We all failed him in some form.
Quiet accomplice.
He once again, he kind of catches in his throat a second, turns to you and says, Your Lordship, I understand if you feel like you failed your Lord Father, but you did not. None of you did. You're young. It shouldn't be your responsibility. Manly fist clench. Even those of us whose responsibility would be to be, we must make our peace and move on. But, as Inos said, we are all under this roof. We are all part of this house. Anything that goes on with any of us could be a reflection of the house, the banner, the Marquess. I understand very much wanting to keep them out of it. Some of you may not believe it, but I was a young man once myself, as all of us were, and understand matters of personal versus family honor. But it stands to me that I think how should I put this? You were treating your endeavors as you said, not necessarily a personal project, but you were going about it as a matter of personal honor when it sounds like you're grappling with a matter that is of family honor. Now, obviously, it is not my place as your Castellan, commander of your armies, to question the wisdom of my Marquess. However, as a senior member of your banners, who I would like to remind you, your lordship, has been a staunch supporter of your position since that day 3 years ago. Perhaps a little clarity next time, my lord. It is a thing that often happens in these situations. You have many members of house, many members of banner houses behind you. They all have their own business going on, their own personal matters, and they get tangled up. We need to sort it all out, which is why I recommended a meeting. We are getting things sorted, and I'm sure that it will all feel most egregious.
Got him.
Quiet back there, Inos, I heard you. I am still responsible for military readiness. I may need to see if you could run a quarter mile with a full ruck tomorrow.
It sounds like enjoying cornbread.
But, as I said, we're sorting it all out. But if you allow my counsel, your lordships, yes, I believe it is better to maybe untangle some things now rather than later, when it could become a problem. For instance, as my good brother said, he has spent some time in the Lamplighters and commanding the House Guard. Well, I do believe that hunting men is not a full expert. Certainly a few things could be arranged. At this point, Lucy, who's been silent the whole time, also chimes in and says, I have an entire crew full of sailors who have been on shore leave for literally a week, possibly another week upcoming, I'm quite certain some of them could have, found a way to be in a bar at some point if there was ever a need for a thrashing. So yes, that's kind of where I think the speech winds down. Well, thank you for saying I'm better at speaking about it. I'm trying to convey wisdom.
I will keep all this in mind next time, and as I promised when I talked with everyone earlier, I will not be as obfuscative as with such things in the future.
Inos claps his hand. Good! Excellent! Everyone feeling better about that one? I know I am. So let's move swiftly along. Nicola, why are you being kind of a bitch?
Why you look like bitch?
I think Everhard kind of
like
coughs on his
bitch,
tea
I'm a queen
bit.
bitch, you!
Yeah, just. Oh damn! I should have. Bad time for me to post that. I should have put Nicola, not Logesh.
I think Tancred Ferran, the second brother, is kind of who is your, sergeant at arms, kind of just coughs into his glove and says, "Oh, this takes me back to me, to me days as a page."
If you mean
that interaction happened. I don't care.
If you mean my interactions at dinner, I apologize. The alcohol got to me more than I thought it would. It will not happen again.
That doesn't answer the question, though.
I don't know rightly what the question is.
Sorry, I was trying to maybe lighten the mood a little bit, but it seems that there is something weighing on your mind recently, and while I don't know exactly... Actually, hell, hang on. I probably should have done this as well.
Activate basic human understanding.
Yeah. Okay, I got a pair of ones.
You did it.
That's good enough. I might, under normal circumstances, allow somebody to roll, lie as a defense, but Nicola was by his own admission fucking shit-faced, so ones are good enough.
Nicola definitely, if it was because I have been subtly hinting at things for a while, but if it was before today, I definitely would have tried to make a roll. But no, he basically said what he thought out loud, so, yeah, no.
Yes. Inos will continue on. You had some biting commentary about our Lord Marquess here, and I'm just wondering, just maybe there might be something on your mind regarding him. And since
Nicola will actually blush a little at this.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know this is nothing personal, Marquess, and I would not normally bring these thoughts up as it is improprietous, but I've gone and fucked myself through drink, haven't I? I have a slight... I'm perfectly regretful and of slightly sound mind now. I may have slight disagreement with how you are handling yourself in the capital as Marquis, and it is just a personal disagreement of how you handle yourself with other nobility. And I saw that reflecting on how you handle yourself with our family. This is not personal. You do everything possible to avoid conflict, even if it is sometimes detrimental to yourself. If I'm being honest.
Maybe I'm a fool then for not seeing it like that.
Example? I'm not really quite sure what you're talking about, Nico.
Oh, I can name a couple. I can name a few, but...
Just stuff I wasn't around for?
Now, one of them definitely happened at dinner.
One of them happened at dinner. One of them happened during the trade agreement with House... Motherfucker. Oro. I don't know what I wanted to
You weren't there.
House motherfucker. Yes, I was.
I'm sorry, now I'm just thinking Bear Oro just blinged up with sunglasses. Bitch, I'm fabulous.
He would. He would. He has 4 chains. Also, yes, no, Nicola was there for not the finalized step, but the first step.
Yeah,
I thought he left.
Also was not in the room with him, but I went with him to Compound Oro in the finalized step.
That's also true. That's definitely what we're going for.
I mentioned before that's exactly how I imagine Baron Oro. So
yeah. It's so true.
I don't think he's quite that dark skinned, but that is
Bro.
definitely his affect is just like Mansa Musa.
For those in audio form, there's a gif of
Alright.
Mansa Musa from Civ 6.
Yeah. No. It is not... Brother, I know this is a new... Or, cousin, I know this is a new status for you. I know this is a new status for you, but you need to realize you're a marquis, and you need to hold yourself with more confidence and power, because if you act in a way that shows weakness or inexperience, people can take advantage of that and use it to hurt you.
It isn't that I'm not aware of that. It's not that I'm not aware of it. It's just it's not that simple.
No, ruling is never simple, cuz. It is often tedious, unrewarding, and often makes you more enemies than friends. But it is something that needs to be done.
Also, let me be clear. I'm not asking you to suddenly gain an inordinate amount of confidence. I don't think that's literally possible unless we do some drugs. However, I'm asking
Would it
you
be your
to
department
act.
position?
I'm asking you to act like you have it. What's the expression? Fake it so you make it. I don't need you to be confident, be all aware of everything. I understand. You're human. You can't actually be that. I just need you to project that to others.
I'm just sorry. I'm just imagining what you said. I know you're human. You can't, know everything. I just sense the inner Leslok voice going, yet.
No, but sure. I guess.
Once again, it is a difference of opinion. I would normally not, and I can promise you I will not be like this outside of these halls, and it is my own fault. I forget my station more when we're at home. I let myself get away from myself. I probably could have done it in a much more productive way, but as we know in this family, apparently no one's very good about talking about emotions.
Well, that aside, I would say you should be more careful, Dr. Nicola. Even here, as while we did hire them, remember, several of the servants are local people. They will be here for many weeks and months after we are gone, and it may come out when they have nothing better to do with their time,
Yes,
speaking
that
to
is my
other
fault.
servants and common folk. I would not be surprised if after the discussion at breakfast, if a rumor that Sir Konrad was in a fight somewhere is not spreading throughout the capital already. As a completely unrelated matter, I do believe that the House of Logi has become... he's like... Alright, I literally just checked his age a second ago, but Lord Eberhard is like 43. He was Lord of the Iron Knock before I think your dad was the Marquess. Like...
Oh,
Eberhard,
I don't know why
the
I thought
father,
it was...
not Everhelm. He's with
Yeah,
you as
that's what I
well.
was
He's
thinking.
he's being silent, letting his dad talk. And Everhelm is older than most of you. I think he's the same age as Logesh. But no, Eberhard
He's my
is
best friend.
the elder, the Lord of House Farran. And he's like, it is not exact. It is completely unrelated to our current businesses. But also, I should say that ever since the royal engagement, the House of Logi has been a focus for local gossip and rumor. I have not brought your attention to it, your lordship, because it has not been a problem, but the men-at-arms have had to throw out or shoo away several gawkers and passerbys over the last week. No one has ever attempted to breach the compound. They are not armed or anything, but it is, a business that goes on here. Inos is quite wise beyond his years. Ruling is difficult, but it must be done. You are now not just the head of your household, but the Marquess of the entire region of Teine. There are many people who will look to you for guidance.
That is why.
Good.
That is why I try not to overstep what I can say. I'd rather not promise something that can never be actually backed up.
Enos kind of, gives you, gives you a slightly eerie stare at that.
I think he's kind of, stroking his beard, and Lord Eberhard says, I understand. The anniversary has just passed, and we've been having this discussion. It may be a little painful to bring up, but your lordship, you are not your father. That is true of every son, as much as fathers wish it. He, gives a nod to his own son, Everhelm. But I must say that is not how your lord father presented his position as Marquess. As far as I know, Lord Leofric never wanted to be Marquess. He was quite content when your Uncle Wulfric took over to comport himself as an honorable and adventurous second son. Pointed look at Konrad. But when the position did come to him through its own tragedy, he took to it with gumption. Everywhere he went, Lord Leofric was warm, open, inquisitive, asking how people were, sharing the joy of his heart with everyone. Now, I do think that, if I'm being honest, his capacity to involve himself in other people's business, while it made him a very excellent Lord Marshal, is probably what got him killed in the end. He was never a man to let things that were incorrect or unjust lie, never a man to let a tragedy or a manipulation of circumstance go by without poking his nose into it. But you are the scion of the House of the Torchbearer. Our great founder is a man of mighty works and deeds, and you have inherited that position. You could stand to, what I'm saying, Sir Raz, you could stand to be a little more bold, a little more open, be a little more fiery. You could bring
It's
more to the
basically
position.
what Nicola is asking.
Well, then, I guess
Just
I should make a
throw
start
some
with this.
balls.
Nicola,
Quiet you.
for once, actually listen when I make demands of you constantly. You don't do any of them.
I didn't say
I'd
that
rather-
out loud.
I think he's still
Jackass.
getting some juice out on Nicola anyway.
Logesh, I prefer you actually made sure that you were capable of protecting me from any danger that affronted me and not die in the process. I understand that you have your own whims, but I prefer if you were actually ready for anything to occur, for my sake.
That seems slightly unfounded, sir. I do not believe that Lord Sir Logesh is entirely lacking in that department.
Conrad, I got you a lead. I divined it myself because I trusted you up to a point that I believe you're capable of your own you're capable of your own skill to handle what you were going to do. Because I trusted you as someone, as you had led the Lamplighters before.
Sorry.
We're very catty in the peanut gallery today.
Okay, I almost lost it. I trust that you're capable of understanding the odds you can handle. I was expecting you to get injured, probably, but wasn't expecting you to be covered in over 8 different stab wounds?
Yeah, they were
Wasn't
back
it? It was
stabs.
only
I think Moira in the back just goes, "Oh, gods."
I was keeping my thing out of it because I felt I'm the Marquess. I shouldn't be interfering with the thing my brother wants to do. He's doing secretly because he doesn't want it to affect me and the rest of us. And it's like, I understood that. I believed in you. I unfortunately believe that wasn't enough anymore. So I give you something to, I guess, not fast forward, but
I think at this point, Moira
expedite.
kind of,
To
pushes
expedite
off
this whole
the
process.
back wall where she's standing and says, "So, Conrad, I think what your brother's saying is that it's not that he doesn't believe in you, because that would be, even I can see that would be a slightly rude and biting thing to say to your closest brother. But it's more that I've noticed a little thing since I've come to join your house, that the forces arrayed against you are perhaps a little bigger and a little more complex than all of you signed up for. Trust me, have a lot of experience with that. It goes back to that thing that Lord Farron said. Your father was kind of the no stone unturned sort of man. And I think what we're all discovering is that when you turn over stones, there are knives under them. They're sharp and pointy.
Or snakes.
Or spiders made of literal shadows.
What?
I followed. Moira literally points at Nicola and says, "I followed him. I didn't follow you."
I just did that head whip to fucking. That's just over to.
I followed him. I didn't follow you.
Wait, none of you have seen those before?
Are you scared of spiders,
Are you okay?
brother?
Now listen. Listen. It's a respectable fear, okay? Have you ever seen a giant spider? They're nasty little fuckers, and they're armored besides. Anyway, but that's not related. We're not here to fight Monstrum yet.
Yet.
That'll be a problem for when we go back to bloody old Teine. But anyway, what I'm saying is, whether it's swords, or spiders, or snakes, or lightning bolts, or magic brooms, or lizard men, or crocodiles, or... Sorry, I'm getting away from it. I've turned over a lot of stones in my life. There's a lot of things under them. Anyway.
It is now canon. Moira has been attacked with a magic broom before.
Yes.
She has fought a witch. She has fought a classical witch before.
Must be a
Just picturing the fucking
must be a-
bucket,
must be a
The mobs
big
from,
big rock if it held a crocodile underneath it.
the monster from Fantasia just throwing buckets of water at her.
Moira just
Anyway.
pinches the bridge of her nose and says, "My son, you would not believe the magical bullshit I have seen in my time. You think this one's weird, she points at Leslok. That's nothing. A lady once tried to throw a lightning bolt in my head. It would have worked too if Miss Cressida hadn't made a... Moira attempts to vaguely make a counterspelling gesture with her hands, but clearly doesn't know how it works. You know, if she hadn't covered for me. Anyway, what I'm saying is, you're all young, and you are now currently experiencing that the world is fucking weird and dangerous, if you'll excuse my language. There's a lot of strange things going on. Some of it is mundane, like, I assume, I don't know, at least 8 angry thugs with knives. Some of it is much scarier, and you're learning that you've got to stick together. Listen, like Eberhard said, you're not your father, Marquess. Nobody is their parents. Literally. Unless they are. But that's usually more fucked up than the other way around. Anyway. Sorry, I get distracted when I'm not thinking about things like a sword. I'll focus. But Leofric had, a crew with him. When he was young, he traveled with, I would say, a group as large as half a dozen of us at any given time. And when he became Marquess, he surrounded himself with excellent lords and ladies like Lord Farron over here. Honestly, it seems like the problem when he was tragically beset in the capital was he didn't have enough great people hanging around him, as much as you all want to say, whether or not you've failed him, if we've failed him. All of you should think like this. You've got to group up, work to your specialties, cover your blank spots. And importantly, you should cover your blank spots with a bloody shield. God, come on, seriously. I need you to get stabbed less.
I would also like people to be stabbed.
I mean, I guess a shield would make sense when I'm not using my big sword.
Anyway, like I said, we're coming to a point where you've discovered that there's a lot of thorny things out here, and it's more than one person, no matter how physically mighty or how many titles they've got or how magically infused they are. It's more than any one of you can tackle at a time. It's why you have people to delegate to. Like me, for instance. Comrade, could ask me. Help you out, get your old man's magic sword back, punch some guys. I'm real good at that. Come on.
I mean, you're supposed to be taking care of her early.
Yeah, but she goes to bed. Also, I'm going to be honest, if I've already had to find things for her to do around sundown, because I'm pretty sure she would have tried sneaking out after you. So we could have, simplified that strategy a little, streamlined it.
It would have been 4 of us then.
Also, I've seen what she can do with magic and stuff. It's a little scary. I did not know anybody could throw knives that hunt you down.
Heart-seeking arrow.
Anyway, sorry. I think I feel like I've talked slightly too much. I'm gonna drink my tea and sit down. But I'm just saying, you're all... She kind of takes a deep sigh, does another aside glance at Inos, says, you're all so bloody young, and I know it's kind of hypocritical for me to say, because I was out there, barely 16 when I first met Leofric, fighting men in back alleys and other shit, but I also understand that my own childhood was kind of messed up in a lot of ways. You lot should, be safer and better prepared and not have to deal with all this stuff, but you do, because that's how our world works. And unfortunately, you can't change the world with a sword alone. Not even 2 swords. Or 3 swords. I suspect, hypothetically, there's enough sword math that you can change the world, but I haven't figured out how many yet.
Damn it, Megan. You said I was going to take something like that.
I haven't counted enough swords yet.
Maybe we should make this up later.
So, like I said, you've all got each other to lean on if you don't want to lean on, the adults in your life. But also, specifically, she points out, Leslok, also, you're the bloody Marquess. I know you said you don't want to, overstep your bounds or overpromise. Well, guess what? You're in charge. You get to delegate.
There are quite literally 4 people... Sorry. Are quite literally only 4 people in this kingdom right now that are more powerful than you.
At least on paper. And guess what? That's what matters.
Exactly.
Trust me, I've met a lot of insufferable bastards with big fancy titles who couldn't back it up. And you do want to be careful, because if you do say too much, someone like me is going to smack you with a sword, and it'll be real embarrassing for you and you lose a little bit of your blood. But when it comes to situations not that, like I said, you can delegate. You've got a lot of things. Somebody comes at you with a sword, you say, Logesh, handle that. And today aside, pointed look at where Logesh's stab wound is, I'm pretty sure she should be able to handle that for you. And now we've learned that if you've got, enemies in bars and shadows, that Konrad and perhaps, I don't know, dozen strong, strapping young men with sticks, maybe not swords, fists. From the back, Lucy helpfully suggests billhook, barge pole. Moira's, kind of says to herself, I once had to fight a man with an oar. That was a little weird. Anyway,
She's fucking such a
can,
good
go out and handle bars. Nicola can hopefully keep you alive. I think that's what he does here. Mostly, I'm going to admit, Doctor, most of what you seem to do here is more about the mental health, and by which I mean mostly you are here to worry at them because they won't worry about themselves, which I think is a good role, but also, they got to keep their blood in.
Yeah, I need to work on that.
Inos is here because did none of you, go out and, chase girls when you were younger? Did you go to plays? Go drinking in the town? Get into fights for no reason?
Yes,
I know
there's
Inos
so
gets
many
into fights for no reason. It's one of the things he's best at.
There's plenty of opportunities for that for a one-armed failure.
Not that much of a failure.
And it's like,
Oh,
Enos will
no,
point
no,
out, Enos will point out, like, excuse me, I do not get into fights for no reason. There are plenty of good reasons to get into fights. Especially when there's a pretty girl looking on.
Moira just
How are you,
glances
Loth?
at the other 4-player characters while pointing to Inos. See? He's real good at that. He knows how to, talk to people normally, how to dance. He also hits people with chains, I think. Honestly, he's pretty good at that. That's
I
an
don't think he
exotic
talks to
skill
people
set.
normally. I think he talks to sweep them off their feet without even trying, but that's another thing.
What I
It's
mean
like
is that, despite the fact that it is definitely going to be what gets him killed someday, Inos approaches life with a certain passion, a certain joie de vivre.
Oh no!
I don't want to hear about passion.
I know.
No, you
But
do.
that's a me dropping a dramatic irony. Moira doesn't know about that conversation. And that's good. You need some of that. Also, he is pretty good with, fantastical little fiddly pretty things. So that's another plus for him. Konrad, I've dueled you myself. You're pretty good at hitting people with swords. You need a little practice on not getting hit with swords back, but you're good at that. And I also honestly think you'd probably be better suited with, I'm going to say half a dozen at least, but I would push personally for a dozen, strong, strapping young lads with nothing better to do than you point and say, hit that, and they're like, all right, boss. You, Logesh, I think you're also pretty good at your job. You just stop taking off your armor, though. It's bad for you. You need that. Keep your insides inside.
Whatever.
You're my Cavalier. You have an excuse to not take it off.
This was for an ice cream social.
I know,
Yeah,
but
social event.
you get a little bit of leeway, if I'm picking up context clues. You dueled Ainara Espada, right? Of course she said, let's do it right here, right now. You have the ability to
I
refuse,
asked
right?
for her to do it right here, right now.
Ah, okay. Then Moira's definitely like, well, I'm sorry, love, but that was stupid of you. If you
Do
wanted
you
it to
know
be
the
public, you
reason
should have done it in Main
why?
Street.
Hold on,
I
hold on.
understand.
Does
Listen, I
Moira
understand.
actually understand? Moira, do you know what happened afterwards?
I can infer things based on what Nicola said earlier when he was drunk and catty. Yes.
Enos will cut in here. Cause I think the point she's going to make here is that now if you do have to protect, our good cause over there at any given moment, you are now more injured than you could have been, than you should have been.
Oh, and don't think that if I saw that little sword bird, I'd have a word with it. You're supposed to pull back normally. You're not supposed to, throw your whole body into it. It's a duel. Moira once again out of character mentioning that Ainara Espada does not know stop thrust, so
Yeah.
It's like, it's not so much that it's the dueling, it's that the fact that you are so I don't want to say grievously. I don't know. I'll say grievously injured doing so.
3 killing? 4 killing? It was a pretty
It was
gnarly wound.
It looked her half, but it was like a big wound.
Yeah, it's like your job is to protect. Your job is to protect Leslok. How can you do that if you're already halfway to the grave?
And if you are in future halfway to the grave, good solid iron. It's good for you. Marquess, I apologize if this is me stepping over my bounds, but I've picked up a little. I've noticed, while you didn't challenge me on it, you are all right at looking after yourself. You know lots about magic and stuff. You're very well read. Your problem is, as I said, delegating. You don't have to fight yourself. You've got people to do it for you. Maybe you don't have to do your other Marquess things. I'm going to be honest, I didn't actually spend a lot of time with Leofric when he was Marquess, so I don't really know what your job is actually.
He wouldn't have enjoyed telling you about it.
No, he probably wouldn't have. But, you're supposed to... my general understanding of nobles that people think are good and just is that you mostly tell people to do things they were going to do anyway, but you say it with, like, a certain air of authority that makes them feel better about themselves when they do it. But sometimes you have to tell people to do things that they don't want to do, but you still have to say it in that way so they do it anyway, because nobody really wants to fight, monsters and devils and wild men and shit, but they have to, because that's just kind of our lot in life.
Then, I'll make this simple. Konrad, you can hate me for this later, but Everhard, do a favor and start getting men to look into Lochtmon. I want to find where that place is, and I want to make sure we can take back Father's sword out of his gallery.
How you pronounce it? I thought you maybe had a stroke when you were writing it.
Cousin, also, Marquis, there's something serious I need to bring to your attention. I believe House Verity is spying on us.
I feel like several people have amused smiles.
Their heir seems to appear at our place of home at irregular times at all manners of night, and I do not know why.
Inos is laughing a little bit.
I feel like several people are just, like, smiling smugly.
Leslok,
I didn't get to write this note down, but no, Nicola completely thought Kefis is a spy.
Yeah, I know. We know. You mentioned this last week. But
yeah, you didn't get to actually write it down.
You didn't say that to me directly last time. I misheard it.
Well, like I said, he was thinking of writing it down as a character note, but yeah.
I should say this. Leslok goes from, like, holding his face, like the bottom of his face, to, like, holding his hand over his eyes. It's like, okay.
I think I have said something incorrect because the entire room looks like they're not laughing at us.
Yes. Kefis has been hanging around because him and our good Marquis fancy each other.
Oh.
Leslok's inner thoughts yes, I'm fucking him. No, moving on.
I don't know if we've established we're going that far.
No,
that's the inner thought of, like, yes, moving on.
I retract I'm gonna go sit down.
You're already sitting, sir. Perhaps a fine fainting couch, Doctor?
I need to get better at reading people. God.
Yeah, I said in text, but Tancred Ferron probably tries to get the name from Konrad, and, like,
yeah,
he is the commander of Lamplighters, so yeah, he will probably be like, well, we can break the lads off from watching the house during the day anyway, and ask around a little. I'm gonna guess it's probably somewhere in the Celestial District if it's a named house. Anywhere else you want to go?
Inos will turn to Lucy. Lucy, I know the crew's not doing much. Do you think they can go around and see if they've heard of anywhere of any interesting places where people might find some, I don't know, things that maybe fell off a carriage somewhere?
Let me actually double check Lucy's good old stats. Lucy, what do you got in your pocket?
I'm not saying that the crew, the boys have to, be an investigative team, but I'm pretty sure they're going around doing a lot of bar hopping. They might hear some shit.
Okay, I was going to see if she had anything to actually have picked up anything beforehand, but no. So she will say, that sounds reasonable. I can ask them. Most of them are still sleeping on the boat.
There are also, I did take some, they look like maybe smuggling journals from my activities, and but I can't figure them out. They might give some leads also.
Well, they're written very sloppily or in, like, some sort of code.
Both?
Yeah, I was going to say both. God, where is... Moira just to herself says, God, where is Ladron when you need him? He's always here when you don't bloody need him. Sorry, I've mentioned before. Ladron was Leofric's man on the down low. He'd know for sure, but I haven't spoken to him in bloody years. He's probably still in Akunar.
I need to put my point into fucking languages. I'm gonna put it in Thieves' Cant! No, I will not.
Maybe next session.
I could do it next session as well, but I'm not doing it now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea now that, like, Konrad, has presented to the whole group these journals to study. Mm-hmm. And you also are going to mention Madame Phaline and Todros the Apothecary?
Yeah.
I think I could possibly have a word with Master Todros, did you say?
Did I have these
Master
names?
might be. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, okay. I should actually pull up.
I believe
shit.
I believe
No,
our
I
Marquess
wouldn't-
has fallen dead.
From what the information I got of the alchemist, he doesn't really sound like a master alchemist. So
Regardless, I would at
Oh,
least.
shit.
Sorry,
At least he
why
makes
am I
fives.
doing? I've taken on Omega's accent now.
I'm doing a lot of
regardless
accents, actually.
I gotta do a stretch for my hip wall.
Yeah, go for it.
Regardless
Lucy
of,
says with 2 5s on her sense plus direction. Oh, Todros. I have heard the boys talk about that one before. He runs a shop, like, right on the edge of the Iron and Salt districts called Vale and Vile, I think? It started with 2 Vs. I've kind of worn them off, because, as far as I know, mostly he just sells, laudanum, opium tincture, and other common medicines, but, the boys say that he's, used to be an alchemist, or some such.
Perhaps I can ask him some questions under guise of shopping for materials.
You sure about that, Nick? Are you sure about that, Nicola? You know, the high-profile corporation of House Logi visiting a freaking hut of squalor and vice. That seems to maybe give people the wrong impression.
Regardless of my personality, I do have some ability to be subtle. I'm not planning as going as Nicola. And Nicola will actually wave his hand on his face, and his face will change.
Oh, great! So there's going to be two one-arm alchemists wandering around with distinct accents.
What do you mean, distinct accent?
I don't know. You make me a roll to change your accent.
I mean, that would, if you want to disguise yourself, it would be charm plus lie. Trying to remember what stat it was.
Might get a
I
bonus
do
with glamour,
believe
yeah.
that if you actually use many faces again, you get a bonus specifically to conceal your identity.
I do believe I do. Hold on. Let me look up the exactness of the spell.
But yeah, I don't remember if I said the name of the store before, but like I said, holy shit,
No, I
Lucy
don't
actually
think you
made a
did.
fucking die roll and remembered
Yay!
her directions in this town.
Sorry, there's a lot of spells I have.
Yeah.
That's the thing about alchemy is
A lot of cheap
a
stuff.
lot of cheap spells.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, I do get a bonus. 2 10s. It is a plus 3d bonus to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically to conceal your identity. So,
Oh,
to
I was about to say, it's like, what
Yeah,
is your
it-
charm and lie at the moment? Actually, I'm curious.
-3.
I have
think.
1 point in lie and 3 charm.
That sounds about right. No, I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah. So, no, with a little bit of technically, you should probably roll for in spelling to actually, to get the bonus from many faces. But we'll let it slide because it's not important right now. I'd hate to have him do it multiple times, but yeah, Nicola seems to be able to. Well, one new fact learned: Nicola can magically change his face, technically a couple of different ways. And when he does that, he appears to be very good at being some other rando.
Well, those are my concerns, Laterus, I suppose.
So also, I am not joking this time that I do actually touch Nicola with my Iron Club.
He does not burst
After
into
he-
flames.
Okay.
Or Twitch.
Nicola will actually revert to his normal accent. I appreciate that, cousin, but I am not full-blooded Fae, therefore I do not have any aversion to iron.
Oh, no, you still have aversion to iron. You get stabbed just as well as the rest of us.
I was
yes,
just seeing
have
if it would
normal-
dispel the thing or dispel the effect or anything.
No, this is good old-fashioned alchemy.
Well,
It's
anyway,
not-
Konrad, do you have any plans for those journals?
No.
Would you would you mind letting me handle them?
Sure.
Thank you.
One of the few things I actually took from the location. Because out of character, I didn't intend to bring the brandy along with me, but it's too late now.
Yeah, like I said, I think you mentioned it as like an offhand. I don't remember exactly now if
That's it.
like the audio may have just been garbled if you said you were leaving it or not. But
I
There's
said
not
I
a bunch of
was
stuff
bringing
you didn't
everything
bring.
up so that the guards could find it.
Hey, free brandy.
it's still fun.
Look, you said didn't you say it was specifically from House for any stock?
Yes,
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They owe us.
We already got a bottle of their brandy.
Yeah, well, now we got a crate.
But, alright. I think this has been a very successful talk. I hope everyone has cleared the air. Is there anything else that anyone wants to talk about? Direct, lay blame, accuse, confess, compliment?
I feel like I want to.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So the person I found down the Gilligreen was Carver fuck that we encountered 3 years ago.
Carver.
Oh, the dude who sat
Oh,
the
that
dudes
layabout.
It's
to
me,
harass
Carver.
us.
That layout.
Oh! Over at the bar, the skinny goat!
Yeah, he was the guy that was trying to pick fight
Oh.
the nobles.
Feels like an age and a half ago.
Oh,
was
it was
3
an
years
age and a
ago.
half ago. Well, I'll make sure to take him off my kill horrible list.
You have one of those?
You have that?
Maybe.
So
I shouldn't be surprised it's Inos. Never mind.
Oh, I thought it was just me.
Perhaps you should
That-
compare
that's still
notes of
surprising
lists
to
of
me,
vengeance.
Conrad kind of glances between you both. What the hell?
You have to remember, Enos was talking about why didn't you just kill these men to make sure they didn't bother you. Enos is actually very, very ruthless. You just don't get to see that much.
He doesn't care about the lives of men that don't matter to him.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Is that good? Do we get everything
Yes.
out?
Yes,
Do we
yes.
want to since you're all in one room, is there anything you want to clear up about, what you're going to do with your time in the next couple of days?
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Enos will say that he has some knowledge on code breaking, so he will see if he can get anything out of these journals, but it might take him a while. And he would like people to, before they go out, maybe wait like a night or two so he can make something for them. I don't know, it takes 7 hours.
No problem.
He will mention though that this evening he'll be blocked up as he has an appointment to keep. So do not
Okay.
wait for him. Do not wait. Do not
I'll-
not expect
If
it.
you don't mind, I'll look at the journals before you come back.
I have some business to take care of tomorrow regarding people that are currently leaving on the fortnight, so I will have that to take care of. But after that, my schedule should be clear, so I will talk to the
Hopefully
dear
no one
alchemist.
shoots you.
Oh, I don't think she won't. I'm not planning on seeing her today if I can avoid it.
Oddly enough, I don't actually have any plans at all.
I mean, most of my plans have now gotten delegated to other people, but I'll be around whenever we find out where the place is. What was
Yeah,
it called again?
Yuktman House.
Yoksvon?
Yuck.
I think I got a bit of
Out of
context.
character,
Yeah.
I think I think it's supposed. I think I flipped the words for moonlight, so it's light then moon in like Danish, which is why it includes way too many consonants.
Okay, so.
Yuktman.
I should have looked one, I
Well,
tried.
my only plan is I'm probably going to go, well, I'll make sure, I'll
Yeah, no
check
trouble.
when the Verity House is leaving and make sure they're not spying on us anymore. Wink to Nicola.
Oh yes, you got to go do your own spying on a certain young noble lady over there, don't you?
Alright, I definitely need
Yes,
to get better at
I need to
reading
give her a
people.
gift.
Oh,
I
Maybe
do know.
Oster can give me some tips.
As a final note, gentlemen, on the subject of espionage, while it is a thing that the houses do engage in with, I do not believe usually titled and lettered members of the house do that. You get other nondescript people to do it for you.
Yes.
If House Verity was spying on us, it would definitely be through a priest.
It'd be divination. I'd probably notice a little bit.
That
somewhere.
is a good point.
I don't know about
have
that
not-
part. I'm just saying they
I-
would, send together some.
I will admit,
Nondescript.
I
That's
misjudged
what
the
it's about.
situation.
House Aura would spy on you through a merchant. House
That was
Espada would not
bad.
spy at
I'm
all.
sorry. No, I'm sorry. I was like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure Baron Oil would just burst in the door, throw money, and say, "Tell me your secrets."
House Oro would
But
spy
wouldn't-
on us through me gossiping with Paz.
But wouldn't we assume that was a merchant, so they wouldn't hire a merchant to spy on us?
No. The thing is, the merchant is here to spy on you because he's already paying off everybody to tell you what they know.
Mhm.
But Enos is correct. Baron Oro would just penny for
Pay
your
us for
thoughts.
the information.
House of Sparta wouldn't spy on you at all. They would simply start stabbing people until they figured out what was going on.
That's what we have Moira and Logesh for now, and Konrad, and all of them. And
I think
them.
when you call her name,
Yes,
Christina
sure.
does the classic, neck crack, roll shoulder.
I'm pretty sure Logesh got stabbed by an Espada, so.
Well, did she find out what she wanted to know?
I don't think so.
You found out what
No.
Logesh wanted to tell her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, she found out what she wanted to know. Why the hell did Logesh want to do her?
And
I'm
All
not
right,
gonna
anyway,
go into this conversation.
Anyway, I'm
It
going
was
to
for
sleep.
love.
Love,
Enos exactly says it like that too.
true love.
All right. Well, now that we've sorted all that out, Everybody, good
I
evening.
swear to
Make
God,
sure to
I'm
stretch.
I swear to God, I'm getting eloped after all these families' dramatic engagement announcements.
I'll give Everhand a firm handshake and thank him before leaving.
I think quieter, but he's just like, no problem, lad. Drops the titles.
I will give.
I definitely feel like Moira probably has to. When talking about elope, Moira has to call out like, well, if House Marin steals him, do you think you're gonna want him back, your lordship? Looking at Nicola.
Oh, don't worry, there will be two of me. I mean, what?
Nicola, sit down.
No.
Nicola runs away.
Leaving now.
He's already burns out.
No.
Nicola dives through the door or through the window.
Everyone,
He casts
grab
alchemy
him.
to fix the window behind him.
Everyone, grab him. I have a bad feeling that he's going to do
Nah,
something
I'm-
I will regret.
I'm assuming that was not in character.
Yeah,
That was not
Aw.
good. You're not getting me that easily.
I put my headphones down for a sec. We have been going for almost 2 hours. I need to get up and take a break. See,
All right.
but did we get everything at our team meeting done?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think though, as really Leslok is probably going to talk to Konrad privately about a thing.
Okay.
But,
I do want to say that I did not decided not to say it because we were still getting through stuff. But one of my mood lighteners was when Enos was like, "Does anyone have anything else to say?" I was going to say Matthias Gladden was probably just going to be like, "I'm just happy to be here."
good for you.
He's just a cheerful lad who once again on camera I don't think
Matthias.
you've spoken to through the entire week, but he's been here.
No, my immediate response was like, I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah. So I'm going to pause
Immediate
my audio and
response.
be right back.
I am now trying to figure like what Marcus things I actually been doing besides just
Oh,
being
my
here. I
God.
guess.
Anyway, I'm pausing recording.
Are you sure about that, Cotton?
No, but Nicola is going to ignore that.
Anyway, what are you saying, X?
Leslok has an entire plan of that he is going to just he knows that if he can't out-talk most other of the other houses, he's just going to like
Oh.
get better results in all of them because he's like he has a lot of plans of what he's going to do before the court, and he's going to like he has a whole plan of like I'm going to take back the fog. I'm going to conquer the Cogvale. I have a
The cock fan.
Cogvale. So,
Sorry, it just caught me off guard.
let me take my mouth guard out.
You have a mouth guard on, and you know what?
I grind my teeth.
Ah,
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Wait.
No,
But
I'm gonna say,
I have
I
a
feel
castle
like
for the
the-
Mer.
the-
I have a castle
yeah.
back to give
nice.
back to the Mer and
Because
ourselves,
I
and I have a bunch of cultural
tinnitus.
sites across the country to conquer.
conquer.
I mean, the one of those is the thing that probably you're gonna definitely need to like work through some people is the concept of retaking the fog veil. That's a large goal you've set.
It is,
suddenly.
but that is a goal that's on the list.
Well,
so Omega, hypothetically speaking, how long does it
It's going
take
on the
to
list.
how long does it take to destroy a Tolkien?
As
Takes to kill a man.
easy as it would take to kill the whatever it's based off of.
Gotcha. And can someone tell if something was a Tolkien?
Somebody with Eerie might be able to sense there's something off with it, but you'd need either the specific esoteric discipline about Eerie, or you'd need like knowledge sorcery.
Got it. So
to be able
burn
to
the
tell for
evidence
sure.
with. So burn the evidence with Azoth.
So Leslok would know immediately. Okay, cool.
Well, not immediately, but probably because dice are good, and you usually do roll good.
all right, I'm gonna unpause this recording though.
I've had the recording unpaused for the past little bit.
Oh, I didn't know.
Actually, that reminds me, I probably should have said that when we were not unpaused on the recording, but I did see a comment. I'm not sure, I have to double check the video, but it sounds like maybe the audio wasn't routed correctly on the last video version.
What do you mean?
There's a YouTube comment I just read, somebody saying that only you're audible.
Oh, I might have muted the desktop audio for some odd reason. Son of a bitch. Or,
Oh, great.
Wait,
Oh,
no.
no.
The Discord audio. I never mute that because that's always up.
Yeah, I don't know.
check
Like I said,
today's
I don't know
episode.
how far they were in the video when they left the comment, but I saw the comment. If it's incorrectly processed, obviously I have the audio version to videoify. It just means that people, or actually, I can probably. I don't think it'll sync up, but I could like mute the other core audio and like upload the other audio under. Anyway, I can do something with it. We can.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anyone except Lucky.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure what happened then, but yeah, I guess it fucked up. My bad.
I'll figure out something. I'll either re-upload it with no video or try to like mute it and redub it. I'll have to see what's takes more time. Anyway, the evening. I believe
wait,
that I think
shit.
it makes most sense. What's up?
Oh, I'm just realized. Yeah, no, I'm looking at my Discord. I'm getting no audio bars from it. This
Oh.
recording is scrunkled too.
Oh shit! Well, luckily I'm running audio on my end. Wild.
Yeah.
Wacky.
Well, at least we caught it. Thank you, helpful commenter.
Yes, thank you, helpful commenter. Fuck. Let me check my properties. Oh, my OBS defaulted. That's why.
Oh, wait, we're not
Watch
channel
that.
anymore.
Watch
Okay.
that shit. OBS will get you
Okay.
when you're not looking.
Yeah, we're gonna have to like fucking weave the audios together
This
again.
one is probably gonna be like I'll just turn
Probably
this
have to
the
post-
audio into a video and re-upload it. The other one, like I said, I think I can try and pair the audio with the video. It won't sync up exactly, but I can try that. This one, we're like finding out halfway through. I don't know what we're gonna do with that.
Well, to double check 22 as well.
No, 22 should. I'm pretty sure they already said 22 should be fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna stop the recording because there's no point now. This shit's fucking scrungled.
Yeah.
So, but I figured it out. So next week it'll be okay.
Yes. We
Okay.
appreciate
Anyway,
you, commenter.
I think to once again spare myself the thing of talking loads in character. First, I think Leslok said he wanted to have a private conversation with Konrad.
Yeah, I don't. If he goes to his room or not, it doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
He can pick the place.
Could be in the lounge after everyone else leaves.
All right then.
Want to talk to me, brother?
Yes, I thought you would actually bring up the point of what I got you, what I got a lead for you for, and other things. But I guess let's get it done now. How to put this? I respect you, brother. I respect you. I respect you quite a lot. I think you are a capable man, and quite more of doing things I would never do, though I guess I would want to do. I don't...
You can just cut to the point, brother. It's fine.
I want to help you do what you do because it's what I wanted to do before I became Marquess, and I now never can, so I just want to help you in every way I can.
I mean, it's fine. I'm here to help you as well. So, still brothers.
Mm.
And don't let I'm weirded out by sorcery. Don't let it bother you. I'm never going to understand it, so. Not my oaths.
I gave you all the oaths you wanted.
Brother, may I have some oats? Here you go.
But yeah, don't worry. Like, once we get back to Teine, I'll be helping run things and probably take a bigger hand in the lamplighters and stuff, so I'll be there.
And I know more things around here than most people think I do.
That's not creepy at all.
That's good. It's your house, after all.
Yes. Would you want that keep across the shore to actually be yours?
Ghost.
I mean... Castle Skullberg?
Yes.
I mean, I was going to officially ask it of you once we got back to Teine, so, yeah. You need a title of my own. I mean, it's just abandoned.
Yes, though it's also a place technically that...
Now, the island and Lorelei Rock and the monastery might not be unoccupied. We'll have to find that out, but probably something we should worry about after the court.
Worry about we're back in Teine.
Well, I was talking about this after the summer court.
That's 5 months from now.
A lot can happen.
Yeah, we have stuff to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to create a whole person and then kill it.
Right, you're not here.
You shouldn't be doing that. We keep telling you this.
Yeah, thank you for your help.
I thought you would actually be enraged by the fact that I did, but...
Maybe if we didn't have our whole family talk earlier, maybe I would be a little mad, but not anymore.
Okay. I wish I could go with you, I guess, storming into that place to get back Silvertongue, but that is a fool's want.
Yeah.
This is shoulder
not a
drama.
fool's want.
You can get involved in things.
Okay. Okay,
literally all go
You
there.
have literally
like-
2 defensive magical spells.
Yes.
Also, you're the Marquess. What are they gonna do? Tell you no?
I mean, that is kind of the point we're at, right? Where it's like,
yeah. Like
That's what Nicola keeps trying to tell him. You literally are the 5th most powerful person in this kingdom right now.
I guess so.
And I'm gonna be real. Our household probably real used to this shit because I'm pretty sure this is exactly how Leofric Logi acted.
Yeah, Leofric he did shoot through doors and ask questions afterwards.
The king, the queen, the prince, the 2 dukes. Those are the only people that are more powerful than you.
and you're
Well,
of
you
a
might be
parity
able
with
to.
the other
We don't-
Marquess.
We don't know, like, from what you briefly described in your node, it's like, looks like it's abandoned or something, so...
I don't think it is. It's a well-stocked gallery inside that building, but it might... I'm not sure if it's connected to that lead you found yourself, but...
Yeah, well, if you find the syndicate there, then all the better. You didn't hear me say that at all, though.
Of course, the Marquess did not.
Right, I'm going to get to sleep. I'm going to follow doctor's orders.
All right. I'm going to quickly memorize these whole books.
Okay. You're at the stage where you don't need to roll for that anymore, right?
I have 5. I can just
Yeah.
memorize anything.
All right.
I just do it.
It'll probably take you, because he's got, 2 or 3 of these books, it'll probably take you a couple of hours to, even if you're only glancing at each page for, a few seconds to, flip through everything.
Yeah, because I'll process it later.
I mean, honestly, Lordlings killing rando bandits is the easiest thing. That's. I mean, you literally did that earlier when you fought criminals.
We did that earlier, yes. I
Well,
guess
yeah,
just...
literally the church goes out. It's like, hey, could you take one of the 3 most important people in the world right now, and go kill these random mooks in a canyon?
I guess just because I'm in... I guess I looked at this, because I'm in the capital. Everything I do marks on the reputation and legacy of our house. So if I do anything that would be seen as foolish or, stupid, that's a mark I'm about to carry for years.
Well, the important thing is even if it's stupid, is it honorable?
Is it public facing? Can you
Let's be
excuse
honest. Our house just kind of has a reputation for not being the brightest.
I'm gonna be real.
Actually,
If you were
that's not
publicly saying you were going to search for your father's killer and their legacy, you would probably get a lot in the public eye.
Okay, fair.
Because it is a matter of personal and family honor.
Yeah, actually, and I mean, if you'll recall,
Yes,
when you guys set out, I mean, you may not recall, but when you guys set out back, Aurelia was the one who said, if I had my way, we would, roll up with dozens of men at arms and, enter the capital in force. But also she understood that, that maybe was not the look that Leslok wanted to put forward. But
yeah,
it has been suggested before that,
Actually, I think
consider
Inos mentioned
rolling in
something to that
force.
effect. I think Inos mentioned something about that before, that you can probably get away with it if you make it a matter of but I do not recall.
I really have been playing too cautious. I guess it just never sunk into me that it's there's actually I can just do it, because I guess
What's your status right now? Actually, did you find all the way up to 4 or 5?
Yeah, I'm 4.
Wow. Yeah,
I can't be 5. I can't be 5 unless I'm connected to the royal family, technically.
That's true.
So maybe
Yes,
after I'm
that's
married, I could.
You could upgrade if you want. That's you're in a position where there's only going to be a handful of other people who are going to be, because it's a 5-point scale, probably several of the other heads of house are status 4.
I assume all the people on the council are status 4.
Some of them are honestly probably only status 3. They're important, but they don't have authority over you unless you cross over with their zone.
It's probably the other marquis and the dukes that are status 4, and then the royal house is status 5.
Yeah, it's only the 3 people that are status 4 then.
Yeah. So you have to be careful about how you do things, because if you abused the king's hospitality or disrupted the king's laws, then the king has to push back on you. But also, you're supposed to be the king's peer, so you get a little bit of pushback.
Yeah, which is why I didn't want to
You could have sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but whenever you're holding the in a meeting, you could have just been "Yo, king, my father was murdered here 3 years, and I wish to look for answers as well as look for the weapon that was stolen." And the king would be I see. And he might have his thoughts on it, but if you announce it, then people know that is what this dude is doing. He is making moves.
Also, as long as you don't move against another house, I don't really see why people would care that much.
Yeah.
I mean, all men are protected under the king's law, so Leslok can't do the fucking Japanese crossroads killing thing of just smacking strangers on the street corner with his sword.
No, but I could put them in irons and have them be judged.
But if there are people that are squatting in a abandoned ruin, and if you ask them nicely, "Hey, what do you know about this thing?" and then they take out knives and try to stab you, don't think anyone's gonna hold.
I mean, honestly, if you guys, as a hypothetical, if you guys went to the Lord Marshal, who by the way is also Leslok's future father-in-law,
it is my father.
And said right now, "Hey, by the way, the person who killed those thugs and beat up that guy Carver and revealed that smuggling was Konrad. He was, chasing down a matter of personal honor and getting to a dust-up." The marshal would probably have to be at worst, he's gonna give you a slap on the wrist and be "Well, very good, but don't do it again while you're in town." Because it's those guys were as described, were violent. Konrad definitely outranks them socially, monetarily, honorly.
Also, they did attack first.
Yes. You also do, and you have a sworn wit. You have if you wanted to talk about Kefis Verity, you have a sworn witness at that.
We have a spy.
So yeah, no,
never really
like,
met
there's a little bit of authority. I think is like a character point of like Leslok being more cautious in the capital does make sense. It was like several people tonight said that like, hey, you could stand to be a little more open and direct, but it was definitely Leofric Logi's nature as a meddler, as a do-gooder that got him killed.
I want to be very clear. Dallas has no problems with how you're running Leslok. Nicola as a character has some problems with how Leslok has been conducting himself.
I think that's kind of everybody had some crossfade there. As noted earlier, Inos just got to dodge it.
Yep.
But all right, anything else?
I owe Inos a lot of land, so yeah.
In the Leslok Konrad scene, forgot your names for a second.
Yeah, we were done.
Okay. Then if
Should
the rest
I
of you are
roll
just
to
yapping.
make the? Well, no, I have to make the.
Yes,
compass.
if you are engineering some things, you should roll your engineering skill.
Yes.
Making compasses.
Yes, not the other way.
Compasses.
Not that way either.
Compazoozles. No, it's obviously compaxen. Sorry, I typed in /roll and then deleted it.
Caught yourself. Interesting.
Almost got him.
Almost, but not quite.
I'm gonna say
2
for-
double
forgot.
sixes.
Yes, that should be sufficient for you to make the project you suggested. You're gonna get a couple of little compass boxes. You're gonna get some compass needles, and you know.
And then make compasses that will always point to their home island that I cannot remember the name of off the top of my head.
That will probably need you to then make a spellcasting roll for minor alchemy.
Yeah, it's minor alchemy.
Yes.
This one should be very easy.
You're just
Let's
trying
have the expert dice be a 6.
yeah, because
Or
you're producing artificial lodestone basically, and having it point a certain way. 9s.
yes,
Looks like. Yeah.
9s
Yeah. So you
and 6s technically, but
engineering roll, you construct the bases for the compass. You have a decent enough height on that you can make sure that they're ship compasses too, so they're like spherical rather than just rounded.
what stat would artistry? What stat would wood carving be?
Specifically woodworking is probably coordination.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to make a roll to make them look pretty. This will be a hard roll, but I will get an extra dice because of my not duty, the selfish one.
No,
The
craving.
selfish
Craving.
one. Craving. There we go.
Yes, you're acknowledging your craving. By the way, remember, if you go against your craving, you're supposed to get penalty dice. I don't know if I call that out often enough. Also, most of the things just bumble into your cravings anyway.
You let me get away with it yesterday.
I try on occasion to bring it up, but I'm not always.
But
also,
always
I'm gonna
bring
be
up my
real.
craving.
Enos almost never acts against his craving.
the check I made that went against my craving, but also would have been detrimental to the party. So I think that's probably why you didn't call me out on it.
Mine's like spent time by new friends and lovers, so like technically I don't actually have never had to conflict with it.
Mine is that, but the thing that conflicted was it was healing Logesh.
In that case, probably your
can't see him
duty
giving a
die
thumbs
probably
up.
canceled out.
Ah, I do make some nice little roses and albatross designs.
Okay, yeah.
I'd say they probably still look crude but they look decent. Is what I'm
Considering you have no
saying.
skill in it, I wouldn't say it's definitely not something masterful, but it is legible and it has that homemade comfort.
It looks aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, what you probably did is you probably did like a stencil or a sketch because you have, experience doing this kind of work with like engineering and stuff, and you managed to not fuck up with, a hand chisel and actually like, carve the shape you drew. So as Lucky said, it's probably a little crude, probably a little homey, but it's very authentic for sure with 8s.
Authentic. Let's go.
It is made with passion.
Yes.
Passion.
Our other fucking watchword tonight. The arc words. Passion. Chagadon.
Damn it! Now I want to go storm that fucking house of Konrad now.
Well, you don't even know where the house is right now.
Oh,
We
yes.
need to find the house first.
I would like
And
to
I do-
ask, like, yeah,
I do believe that, you could try magically to figure it out.
or scholarly insight. I could just try that once I get information back for everyone.
I mean, that just gives you a clue of how to proceed. Like, I would tell you to, like, probably just go to the records office. The main thing is that it's like, after the dinner hour, so you're probably gonna have to wait till tomorrow for because Tancred Ferron did specify, to have your boys, your lamplighters and other servants around the house not break off during the night guard. But yes, Nicola is satisfied with his gifts, his, I was going to say vanity project, that's technically true, but no, his little side biz.
Sad biz.
No, by the way, I should also say, I wanted to ask, should I still have a status?
I mean, yeah, you're a doctor.
Your
You
core
should have
position.
probably at least one.
Okay. Yeah, so, because
One
I
or
was thinking
two.
about dropping my status 1, but I guess it makes sense.
I was like, we got most. I feel like most of you guys could be 2, but
Nah.
Maybe some of the others,
No,
but
no.
no, I definitely think that, like, right now, I don't actually, did Enos buy back his status?
Did I? I don't think I did. No, I have not.
Okay.
I
Enos
probably
could
should
rate,
get
could rate a status 1 from his, being a recognized sorcerer fire and goldsmithery. Definitely your
have
name is
licenses.
going to start getting out there. Like I said, Nicola rates at least probably a 1 for being, your court physician.
Yeah.
Like he has a court
Definitely not a
appointment, even if
2,
it's very
though,
minor.
because I am still a fail son.
And Logesh and Konrad I think is more debatable if they should buy up, but I think 1s or 2s in is fine.
Konrad is 2.
Yeah.
Because technically he's still the heir right now.
Yes, and he can probably in future as if he ends up lord of a minor castle and so on, could probably keep that level. All right. Okay. Then that means Enos time.
Enos time. Enos will pass Moira a message asking her to meet him out in the yard. Enos is going to have a cask ready and a couple of mugs.
Honestly, you probably find her out in the work area anyway.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. She's probably working on. I don't think she'd be hammering in the middle of the night. But probably definitely has like the grindstone or the whetstone out and is working on sharpening and maintaining her own swords and works on some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She notices the cask and gestures for you to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably time to take a break anyway. Starts cleaning a blade.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to make young Miss Aurelia some proper short swords. Where the girl picked up knife fighting, I don't know, but problem is, I think I need some good Nolan iron. It's good charcoal. Anyway, probably starts filling the mug.
Yeah. Inos will do the same and hold it out for for a cheer.
Mhm.
And say,
Yep.
to your health.
Cheers to your health. Clink.
Slam the mug, drink. Inos starts filling his mug again. Is like, when you first showed up, you said that if we were going to have to hear your story, we would have to get you a mug of ale to do so. And since I feel like I owe you a bit of an apology, I think this is probably as good a chance as any.
She kind of, nods to the mug and says, well, I reckon I owe you a little bit of apology as well. She kind of, tilts her head slightly. Probably shouldn't have hit you, to be honest. I was thinking about aiming for your chest. But you have to commit.
Oh, so I've noticed. For my part, I definitely should not have come off so hot-headed. God, I was up all night about that.
You sure you weren't up all night fancifying and enchanting your, well, I was going to say Wii, but it was a quite large music box.
Oh, I was only up most of the night. The rest of the night I was up agonizing.
Well, now you don't need to worry about your table. Sip.
Yes, another part of foolishness on my part. Big sip. But, as I said, I had to do a lot of thinking, and a lot of regretting, and a lot of understanding. And in the midst of all that, I realized I don't actually understand anything about you more. I know you're good with a sword. I know you're good with a sword. You're a bit of an ass. But you tend to care.
Regrettably, the middle thing is probably a result of the upbringing.
Probably.
She kind of glances down at the mug, which I suppose I should speak about on account of the ale. Alright, well, you might not know it to look at me. She kind of... You've probably got, like, a little lamp or something out in the yard, and she kind of, like, holds up her, hand. She's probably taken off her jacket in the middle of the night, so... As a reminder, despite speaking with what I would say is a Norlish accent, Moira does have kind of a darker intermediate skin tone, like someone you would think of from the south. Can be a little hard to tell, but I was born and raised in Teine. If you don't know much about the surnames of men, Degen comes from an old word for a sword. Grandfather was a blacksmith, swords especially. Got trained forging weapons for the army, which is why I'll say I was not necessarily thinking about your time in your own little workshop as, social time. Gramps wasn't unsocial, but work was always very focused, very regimented. You don't sing a lot of hammer songs in the army. Now,
not that.
Yeah.
No, it's just
now. Not that I really got to know her, but supposedly Mother was a blacksmith too, good with swords. We never did quite figure out exactly where my father was from or what he did. Gramps always reckoned he was probably a sellsword or a duelist who was from down south who had to skip town for some reason. It's unfortunately a regrettably common occurrence with swordsmen. Grandfather was never really straight about it, but the way he tells it, they were young, they were in love, but when my mother got pregnant, he wasn't really here for that, so he decided to skip town. I can't decide if it's better or worse for him that I've never found him. Whetstone noises. Anyway, so, mother died in childbirth, not that uncommon. Also true, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So Gramps did his best, raised me as a blacksmith's apprentice, learned a lot about making all kinds of things, nails, horseshoes, but also swords and armor, that sort of thing, axe heads. Now, believe it or not, Inos, when you're forging a sword, usually you got to know a little bit about how to use a sword. You can't tell if it's dull or unbalanced if you don't know how to hold it right. And I was always pretty good at holding it right. She, holds up. Actually, no, she probably, you're, sitting at a bench or a table or something. She probably, passes her mug very deftly between her two hands and says, and also, I've always been good with either hand. They call it sword-handed down south. It's supposed to be, lucky or something. I don't know. So I was pretty good at that. Now, technically being a bastard and being raised by the old man, who was very gruff and distant up by old Stokesboro, the local lads and lasses were not always nice to me, but I was a little bit, scruffy, but that's okay. We got into a few scraps, bicep polishing gesture. And, we all sorted it out. And honestly, I think most of the local adults didn't mind me so much on account of Gramps gave me all the boring jobs he didn't want to do, hammering nails and horseshoes. He said it built character. But, means I, like I said, learned how to make a sword, learned how to hold a sword. And it wasn't uncommon that a few people who would come to Gramps for swords would want to test them out. So I picked up a few things here and there. I would say that the story of my life really gets started when I was about 14. Actually, did I? I don't think I've had a... This is actually, I've forgotten. I don't know if Moira would know his name for sure, but she refers to Leslok, Konrad, Logesh, etc.'s grandfather, Leofric, and Wulfric's dad. I think I've just realized I don't think I have a name jotted down for him, but the previous Marquess before.
Mm-hmm. Is that the White Wolf?
No, that was your great-grandfather. That was Leofric's grandfather. Yeah, it was his son, who I probably should give a name to, because that's... Guess what? Generational bullshit. That guy probably gave you some baggage to sort out between your various houses and stuff that I will get into at some later point. But yeah, Moira says that, the previous Marquess, the Marquess at the time had just died. Called him he was some called him the Wolf Lord. I think he was also just, kind of an ornery old guy. But Wulfric had just ascended. They called him the Young Wolf. So, one of the Logi cousins comes to Gramps and has him hammer out a nice new shiny sword to give the new Marquess. And it also turned out that at the time, his child had just won a prestigious fencing tournament, was going to be sent off to the capital to try and train for the Blood Shields. You may be figuring out where this one is going.
Yeah, Inos does a big sip in some eye narrowing.
Now, you may figure where this is going, because you're a bright young lad. Well, the young little miss, I'm going to be honest, she was a little bit bratty. She said some things about the quality of Gramps' work. I'm sure she was just, bored or killing time. Or maybe she was a bit of a snob. Who knows? Anyway, I took it personal. She took it personal. And so I challenged her to, use her best steel against best one of Gramps's. She taps the long sword, the hand and a half sword that she usually wears on her back that is, sitting next to her. Well, I do only slightly regret to say that that match went to my favor. Shattered the cheap mass-produced thing she was using for a side sword and bloodied her face a little bit. Now, his lordship, for the most part, seemed to kind of take it on the chin. His daughter got herself in this trouble, but she was going to be put to a prestigious position, and it seemed like some of the local townsfolk were a little concerned, the unparented granddaughter of the local blacksmith striking nobility. It's not like it was a sanctioned duel or anything, we were just in the back garden. Yeah, just kids, So, I'm not exactly sure what Gramps planned. I think he was just going to ship me off to do like he did and work as an apprentice or maybe a full blacksmith out by the Anvil way, House Wayland. I decided, in my infinite wisdom, to skip all that and go about off on my own. I can tell you, wasn't my greatest plan. I, packed up some tools, packed up a sword, and struck out on my own. I knew I was heading for the coast. I was going to try and go probably southward. It was not a great plan, let me tell you. If you've never hunted deer and foxes with just sling stones and a sword before, don't. It's not smart. It's not great. When I got tired of that is when I picked up my next trade, which was going around to local inns and pubs and challenging gentlemen with swords to bets. Weren't really duels, but a lot of people in inns are, she jiggles the tankard, a few drinks in. And so I started to make a little coin that way. Eventually made it to a port. I bought all the coin I'd saved up and a little bit of labor, fixing things around the boat to catch a ride to Keltassy. You would not believe how little sailors know about how to keep a cast iron skillet. Gotta treat it right. Now, unfortunately, Inos, you may have guessed young Moira's problem, because, as I just said, I spent all my coin on the trip when I got there. Got dumped off in Achenar. So I had to revert to my previous plan. And at a pub in that town, I ran into some lads who were part of a fencing school. I am not sad to say that I was still better than them, and so rather than pay me the money, they ran off home to go fetch their teacher. Luckily for me, the mistress of this school took pity on me, probably because she at some point had, been young and foolish, and took me in for a while. I studied at the school for about 6 months. That's where I picked up the short sword. I was a real natural at it. Unfortunately, the older lads at the school really did not like that some random rat off the street was now their teacher's star pupil. It was, the usual hazing and bullying. I'm sure you know how kids are. I assume Moira takes a sip when I take a sip of my water in real life.
Mm-hmm. Inos will take a sip along with her.
Yeah. Well, like I said, after about 6 months, some of them got into their head to come at me quite seriously. Had to hurt them pretty bad. I don't think anybody ever died, because I'm pretty sure all their rich and noble parents would have been a little miffed at me for that. But I had to leave town. This is where I started to get more into the usual dueling job. People needed a champion, I'd take them up for it. I fought a few people for no other reason than they looked like they had a few coins to spare on it. And I started making sure people who were high in money but low in swords were, looked after. Not in trouble. That's where I first ran into that old so-and-so Ladron. Cool, what a charmer he was. Times when I'm always wearing a bloody hood. Times when I wasn't sure if it was a man or a woman. Though, build-wise, I'm pretty sure he's a bloke. Anyway, did a couple small jobs for Ladron, and then he comes with me and says, I'll paraphrase, Oi, Moira, I got, 5, maybe a week's worth of work for you. Well, this guy bloody well doesn't tell me most of that work is going to be spent on a boat to the bloody Isles. So he takes me down to the Isles to meet somebody. Can you guess who he was meeting? Does Inos actually want to guess?
When he says Isle, did he mean like
the Islas Viento? Yeah,
Islas Viento. I'm sorry. What is I can't remember the Marin head's name right now.
Baroness Coraline Marin.
That's like cool. Inos would just mention Coraline Marin.
No, not quite.
Not quite.
No, I did see the little captain a few times there. By the way, son, I'll warn you. You shouldn't ever say that in front of her because she'll shoot you where you stand. She'd probably try and shoot me, but I'd know that, so I'd simply dodge.
Nah, I'd win.
I simply just
Moira
wouldn't get
says
hit.
to herself, I could parry a bullet.
Nah, I'd parry the explosion.
No, it was actually one young Leofric Logi.
Oh.
See, he was down in the Isles off on some harebrained crusade of his, and Ladron knew that he needed some info and dropped in to see him. And yeah, it's a little far afield. We ended up going all over in those days. Now, Ladron, recommended me as being a good hand with a sword and knowing a few other things. He taught me some stuff about locksmithing, shall we say. Most of which I could probably remember if you really pressed me. Back then, it was just 4 of them. Leofric, second son of House Logi, him and his magic sword and his big coat, wandering around, helping the downtrodden, alms for the poor, probably saved a couple damsels. Wasn't paying attention. With him was old Erman Krieger. Now, Krieger is a professional soldier. Again, in case you can't tell by his name, his family were soldiers for long enough that they started writing down names, and his father was lucky enough to be a knight. Old Krieger actually studied with young Wulfric when they were pages together, and apparently, when Leofric decided to do like most young nobles do when they don't have anything more pressing, and go on a little bit of a tour, Wulfric gave him 2 things. 1, lent him the sword, Silvertongue, which I have gathered from the previous conversation has gone missing. Terrible shame. That's what they'd call in Spiderlands bad sword magic. Not supposed to let your enemies take your swords. And they mean it for superstitious reasons, not just the obvious that, it's bad to get your sword stolen. Anyway, Krieger was the other thing, pointing him as Cavalier. He was a professional soldiery type. Real tall, broad, quiet, very pointy mustache. Went everywhere with his bloody two-hander, and a little bit of an arquebus. Mostly did his job to make sure Leofric stayed safe and whole, for the most part. Now, when they went first on their tour to Tron, and I'm not entirely sure about the story, but that's where they ran into the other 2. First, I'm sure you know him well, old Conti the Bard. He'd been studying at school there, from what I understand, but was running out of money, so he needed a rich patron. Between the 3 of them, I never got a quite straight story, but either Leofric tapped Conti to be a local guide, and Conti tried to steer him astray, but decided better of it because Leofric was such a nice, outstanding gentleman, or some local thugs knew that Conti was looking for rich patrons, and so followed him when he led Leofric somewhere where he was going, where he probably shouldn't have been. Anyway, they got into a scrap. Turns out Conti knows which end of a rapier to hold. He was the one they actually had test my skills, as it were. She kind of leans towards you conspiratorially and says, and I'm not afraid to say that I had to tap him on the head with the flat of a sword. Unlike yourself, he had to take a little nap after.
Oh.
But you probably shouldn't mention that to him. I think he's still a little upset about it. Anyway, Conti was like me, common born, but he's a right sort with languages, read and write, and all that kind of thing. Also, he knows how to talk about it. Well, yeah, you guys set the rules to the duel to First Blood, so she just gave you a little poke.
Yeah.
She knows stop thrust. But she probably did what is it? The maneuver where you turn, killing a shock damage at the head, knockout blow. I think just slap the shit out of him. Whap. And the other one they met somewhere along the way, still not entirely sure, was old Friar Tomas. Now you might not think it looking at him, but Tomas was a study in all kinds of contradictions. He had the kind of round belly you'd expect from a monk, but his arms were about as big around as his belly. And he shaved his hair into one of those silly little tonsures to hide the fact that he was going bald early. Don't think it quite worked. But from the neck down, he was covered, wrist to chest to waist in those runic tattoos of his. He was part of the Order of Stonehearts.
Oh.
Yeah, he could be quite a menace in a fight when he got those runes going. And I reckon it's because he was a monk that he knew a few things about how to make a meal and brew a beer properly, but I've never ever met a monk after him who knew quite so much about where best to go to get a good drink in a town. Honestly, I think he just, met Leofric and decided to follow him. He always said the runestones told him to do it. If you ever find where he's gotten off to, you can ask him about that. Never put much truck in the rune sorcery myself. Like I said, there were only 4 of them, 5 when I joined at that time, but a couple days later, we did run into a new person. I'll spare you the guessing game. It was the young Miss Cressida at the time. You'd probably have to ask her about the specifics, but from my perspective, it was quite a funny meeting. We were tracking down some gentlemen who Leofric and his boys, all the way from Tron, had followed, who were engaging in an operation of smuggling and counterfeiting, selling a lot of people, skimming off the top good, proper goods, whether it was art or even stuff like flour, and selling the common people the knockoff dregs. Fill the sacks with sawdust, water down the rum, that sort of thing. And apparently, when people came calling about this counterfeit goods, they would thump them on the head and sell them off in practical slavery down to those freebooters in the cauldron. So as you can expect, Leofric was quite miffed about this. Nicola falls down a set of stairs. Nicola flies out of the window. Well, it turns out that these blokes, whose hideout we were approaching, were doing the same thing on the cauldron end. And I don't know the exact specifics, but apparently they, through a convoluted chain of deals...
Can someone mute him for now?
I need to mute him on your end, but I can server mute so it's not in the recording. Oh, we got even further new server mute symbol.
Oh.
Don't worry, Dallas can fix himself when he comes back. But yeah, Moira goes back to saying, well, through a convoluted chain of deals, apparently some of their counterfeit merchandise had made it all the way to a remote clan in the cauldron. Sold them some bad rum, knocked a couple of them out, made them sick, damn near blinded a couple of their, strongest gents when they were celebrating, which, if I understood Cressida correctly, included some of her brothers and her old man. Anyway, they did some kind of... Moira makes a vaguely sorcerous gesture in the air, and sent her out because she was already all, spookified. So, on her own, she treks the counterfeit rum all the way back to the Blackport and the freebooters. Overhears that they're going on a jaunt back to their hideaway off the island. She stows away on their boat. She reckons they're just sailing up and down the coast, to some cove where they mind their own business. What she didn't know is that she would be on their boat for nearly a bloody week because they were sailing back to the Eastlas.
Oh.
Good on her for, staying low for all the time. When they saw shore, she hopped off and swam ashore and, figured out how to follow them. So, here we are. 5 of us, right? Leofric in the lead, me, Krieger, Conti, come up. Conti's ears were always real sharp. He tells Leofric, oh, there's someone hiding up in that tree there. And Leofric, of course he does, draws his sword and, challenges who goes there. So, out of this bloody tree drops, half-drowned girl. If he didn't have that magic sword of his, she might have put out one of his eyes. Ramblin' and Cauldron. Luckily, Conti understood enough of it to actually, get the point across and introduce everybody. And we all figured out we were working on the same side. More to Lord Leslok's point, we did in fact kick down a lot of doors that night. It's the premier way to enter a building where people don't want you there. And that was basically when we locked in the group. Rattling around, chasing bandits, smugglers, slavers, counterfeiters, handful of thieves and murderers. She kind of takes a deep sigh and it was like, I'm sure you understand because you knew him too, but the man was well, there's a reason why they called him the Lion. Everywhere he went, he was always, radiating this great big aura about him. If you were friends, it was all nice and good, but if you were enemies, ooh, he'd roar and he'd claw, right? Sorry, it's me rolling my neck in real life. Leofric never met an injustice he didn't want to correct. If he saw nobles mistreating commoners, he didn't eject, sometimes with a sword point. If he saw commoners, cheating merchants or nobles, he'd get in on their side. I think he mellowed out when he became Marquess a little, but not all the way. And I'm sure he was a bloody great pain in the ass to more than one of the people who are now in charge of this country. But never a dull day. Takes a long sip of her beer. We did that for probably a couple of years. I was, still mostly a kid. But one day, he got the sad news. His brother had been killed. Monstrum attack. Real nasty stuff. So he has to fly on back to Teine and, inherit the position. That was always a little odd. Well, one of the odd thing was, I won't say I'm an expert in matters of the heart, but I don't think any of us had quite figured out exactly how fond he and Miss Cressida were for each other. But, well, the marriage had to get arranged pretty quick. After that, though, we kind of all went our separate ways. Conti went back to finish up his education for a couple of years with Leofric as his patron, and I understand he came back to be court tutor after that. Krieger, I think, was kind of upset that he couldn't be with his old pal when he died, and so he retired from his position as Cavalier. I don't think Leofric ever took a proper Cavalier after that. I heard Krieger went on to go found a mercenary company, a Landsnecht. I guess when he got tired of, hanging out in the countryside. Gods only know where Tomas got to, and then there was me. I went back old village way. Found out, unfortunately, old Gramps had passed while I was gone. He always was a hard worker. I squared up my inheritance with the man who bought the shop out from under him. Got some of the old man's tools and stuff. I kind of figured I would probably set up my own shop somewhere, but in case you can't tell, might have gotten into another little scrap. I went up Drakesburg way, and I gotta say, some of your kindred, when it comes to, tools and stuff, worked things, some of you can be a little touchy-feely, and my grasp of deep speak is very loose. So I ran into a couple of lads who come down the mountain in Drakesburg. I reckon what I understand later from some of the locals who are much more adroit at these things, they were admiring my old Gramps' tools, but one of them tried to lay his hands on his old hammer, and I did the normal response I've been doing for years, and I tried to tap him with a sword. I meant to, just give him a light little cut like I do most people who I'm annoyed with. But I can tell you, it was like I was hitting a man in bloody full plate. Out of character. Actually, I think you brought up to this discipline, but
yes, I do have that. I do have it now. Yeah.
You can presume that she encountered probably a crafter from a similar circle as yourself who is that far down in the discipline, and just she went for what probably would have been a light tap, and like I said, encountered clanging off armor. Luckily, the locals stepped in and cleared it all up before it was a full fight, but I kind of felt like I was a stranger in my own homeland. So I decided to wander around a little, see some stuff for myself. I settled down a couple of places, and we can get into all of that, but usually it ends up with someone finding out old Moira Two Swords is living in their backyard making swords, and they either come to get a sword, or they come to fight me with a sword. Now, sometimes we just scare them off, but a couple of times I did have to cut and run. Last few years, I decided to get real lost, and I'd actually been up in the Lagartia.
Oh, jeez.
Not a lot of people like to go out there. It's hot as balls, and the lizardmen are to outsiders a little scary on account of their, claws and scales and mouths full of teeth. But they're quite nice when you get to know them. They're a horrible sucker for sweets. So I, bummed around there, learned a little about how they smith things for the last few years. A couple of years back, got word that Leofric died, and then I had to start the process of making my way out of the jungle, as it were. As you can probably guess by the fact that I've only just arrived at this house a week ago, it took me a while.
That would have only been a week.
And that's kind of where we are now.
Enos kind of blinks a little because Exactman is like, "Oh, it has only been a week since you've shown up."
I know, it feels like forever, doesn't it?
It does.
It's probably because you guys are so busy all the time. That's what I was saying. Probably need more boat trips. That's where we got most of our relaxing done. Our carriages. I regret to say that when we had to travel on foot, those were not very relaxing. She kind of looks Enos up and down. If your Marquess is gonna go and march anywhere on foot, you're gonna need some sturdier shoes.
Oh, we are not marching, if I have anything to say about that. The sun is hot, the road is dusty, and my calves will be sore for weeks.
See, right? That's why they tamed horses. Probably the smartest thing the Chevals have ever done.
But, Enos, bows to Moira. Thank you, Moira. I do think that I understand you a bit better now, and I definitely feel that I owe you an apology for the way I behaved the other night. I was stressed. I try not to show it, I really don't, but I don't know. I feel strange sometimes being around my cousins. I don't necessarily want to... He pauses on that, taps his mug as he thinks about it. Well, honestly, I had to talk about put on the spot about this. Trying to gauge my words properly. If you want me to be flirtatious and snarky, that's easy, but trying to be honest, well, that's one thing that no amount of flirtiness will cover. Anyways, you know what now. The point of my debate is I was being a fool. I was being a fool that night. And you did come to me with a legitimate concern, probably born of a misunderstanding, which I hadn't done anything to really fix. I just kind of let it go as a given. as much as I talk about as much as I like to talk about how men don't understand our demons, I was distinctly reminded that sometimes I don't understand how men are either. Call me a hypocrite.
Nah, like you said, you're young and you're foolish. That's the domain of young people. And, I admit, ever since my own personal misunderstanding, not been real good at understanding iron demons as much either. I have to work on that. But, met a few people who knows a few things. Lisbon, good for sweets. Desert Kith, good for talking your ear off. Never get into a talking competition with one.
Oh, I know that one.
I don't really know a lot about merfolk. I just know that if you watch where you're sailing, the way they pop out of the water and throw harpoons at you is slightly unnerving. I think that was much like my little, she, taps the sheathed hilt of her sword over there. Much like that was my little hello. I think that's just her way of saying, hi, how do you? This is my front yard. Get out. But here's how it is. Thing, Inos, you need to know about men, the simplest thing, is the problem with men is they're all different. You said yourself. While you are, different somewhat physically, we all still bleed, we need to eat and drink, except fairies, probably. Never really had a long conversation with a fairy. It's probably because of the swords. But, anyway, we all have our basic needs. You said yourself, you have a hard time being honest, always behind your veils and whatnot. To say, myself, I learned that honesty is like letting go. It's like letting the hammer drop. For me, it's very easy. Probably to my detriment. But never had a hard time with that one. Now, the, being all lettered and polite and, elegant, not great at that. I barely knew how to read once upon a time. Some days I feel like the way, the young doctor or the Marquess speaks, there's some days I'm not even sure we're speaking the same bloody language. But, here's how it is. People's all different. Usually you gotta take them one at a time. Also good advice for fighting. Tackle your opponents one at a time. Learn from young Sir Conrad's mistakes. If you're gonna fight a dozen guys at once. Wait, by the way, I think the number of guys Konrad fought, but technically beat up, has gotten larger each retelling.
Oh, definitely.
I think it was only like 6 guys in real life, but at one point we said like 8 or 10. Now she's at a dozen.
It was 5 unworthies.
That's what happens when you retell stories like that.
Yeah. You're gonna take on a dozen guys, get them a small space, funnel them one at a time. Get somebody to watch your back, and your sides, and your front. Sometimes below you. Listen, I fought a lot of people in a lot of different places, many of them with Leofric Logi. Many of them were strange. I'm not kidding. That a bloody witch we kept running into, she literally tried to throw a lightning bolt at my head. Would have got me too, like I said, if Cressida hadn't antied her wooge. You guys can't see it, but I'm making various nondescript mystical gestures.
I even sure she's just doing the fucking she's trying to do a 7, but upside down and sideways at the same time.
I feel like I'm doing ikabukum. Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure what Nicola meant by snakes, but that's also a thing I've run into. Women can throw snakes out of her sleeves. It sucked. Honestly, it's her fault most of the weird things I've run into.
Could you say it was a snake attack?
You're not there.
Ooh.
Tonight, Nicola discovers that Moira does in fact have the technique in her two-sword style where she can pitch one of her swords. Thunk.
Where are they?
Here's what I have to do to make sure I actually am listening on this, because this is a good time. I just wish I was there.
I mean, you could roll hearing, probably. Difficulty, probably. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Probably difficulty 5, because I don't think they're having a loud conversation.
No, it's fair.
But it is a quiet night.
I'm not even gonna bother, because I'm in a loud room doing loud things.
Yeah. And I think Konrad and Logesh are sleeping properly.
Yeah. Gotta sleep off the brain.
I thought about it when Silvertongue was mentioned, rolling hearing, but
I'm gonna roll that. I have lucky.
Okay, you failed. You can reroll.
Yeah, go for it.
You can see. We can test this out. I don't know what we're doing after this. Honestly, we may be skipping most of the day until the evening.
Oh,
Nope.
I don't make it.
No, not high enough difficulty.
Damn it.
You may realize that because I said, there's a lamp out there. You may realize that Inos and Moira are having a conversation, but you're gonna have to physically enter the scene if you want to listen in or share the conversation.
That's fair.
But yeah, no. Moira says, I admit, I feel like there are times when, I'm not making swords or wielding swords that everything just gets a little fuzzy. I feel like I didn't intend Moira to be this way, but I feel like I'm playing her like she has ADHD or something. She gets distracted by her own stories easily, but when it's focus time, she's focused. And who knows, maybe it's something else, because I feel like she's just out of character. Enos has talked with her long enough here. Moira has spent basically her entire adult life, with the possibility that someone will show up to fight her just because she's Moira Two Swords, and she basically lives her life that way. Like, even now, she's pretty relaxed, but one of her swords is within, reaching and striking distance, so that if somebody, hopped over the fence and said, Moira Two Swords, I challenge you to a duel, she'd probably pitch the mug at his head, draw her blade, and slayeth him. Like, before he could react. Like, that's how Moira has to live, and she doesn't think that she's living a great life, but it is the life that she has been dealt.
I'm not ready for the weird mess that's going to be Ainara Espada fighting Moira.
I don't know if that's going to be a weird mess.
It might go well or very poorly.
I would rather just not have that fight happen in the first place.
That's fair. I feel the same there in that regard.
I'm pretty sure the way it should be is that right now, Moira should take that fight, but it would be very interesting. But yeah, no. So, like, as Moira says, people are all different. They all have different stuff. And, she once again says, there's a lot of weird things out there that'll come get you. Some of my stories seem crazy, but I swears they happened. Snakes and crocodiles and lightning bolts and all. You're pretty good at what you do. And like I said before, chain fighting's it's very unique. Only known a couple of blokes who studied that way. You might want to consider at least carrying some, knifey stabby things to go with the chain. But blunt weights are good too. But you're always going to run into problems that you're not prepared for. Much like I said with the lightning bolt woman, the lightning bolt witch. Didn't have any blood idea what was going on, no idea how to look out for myself. If I didn't have friends, that'd be it. There'd be no more Two Swords. You're pretty good with chains and magic and, well, like I said, how would Moira phrase this? We're probably on at least the second cup. She says, normal fucking human interaction. But that means that, you're probably not cut out to go fight, 10 or a dozen or 15 guys in a dive bar out for your blood. Or, what are you going to do when you're riding along, the low street and a couple of blokes jump out with crossbows and say, your money or your life?
Oh, ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, ne'er-do-wells. In that moment, I can say that probably, young Sir Konrad or the Marquess would probably be like, do you know who you're bloody talking to? It's just how it is. You gotta look out for yourselves. Look out for each other. Which is why I need to make some swords. And I seriously need to convince some of these guys to start carrying shields or armor or something. I understand you get in a fight, you're supposed to, strip to your shirt sleeves, but still, it takes a long pull.
Yep. Inos will polish off his mug and set it down and, get to his feet. Well, it sounds in that like you probably want to get back to work. I think I've taken up enough of your time, and I think we've had enough touchy feeling as we're going to get tonight.
She kind of looks up at the house and says, well, I'm pretty sure Conrad's asleep, so he's not going to be reaching out and touching anybody tonight.
All the better.
They can probably hear that Conrad's asleep.
I'm kind of sad you two actually chose to stop now.
Well, honestly, there's not much more for us to talk about.
I mean, Leslok actually says that, like, from around the corner.
Oh, Leslok is creeping up?
Creep.
Yes.
Intruder in the house! Psh!
Marquess, why are you sneaking around? Why are you sneaking around the house like a sneak thief?
Like a sneak thief.
I was more...
roll coordination plus stealth. Was he a sneak thief?
Oh, fuck. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, because, if you're not sneaking up, I'm gonna roll hearing to hear your approach.
Oh, that's fair. I just waited around the corner.
Well, like I said, I think it just seems like
I was waiting for a moment to put in. So.
Yeah, I think this is just the moment where the conversation winds down, and he's like, "Oh, I just showed up."
Oh my god, I didn't care about the previous conversation because that was private. But can I roll hearing to hear the juicy gossip?
What juicy gossip?
Holy shit, I did it!
You confronting the Marquess.
Well, let's see. Roll hearing. Sense plus hearing. You got to be 5 somehow, some way. This isn't the one.
I don't know if you should be laughing because since hearing is one of my actual good skills.
He did.
Yes.
Our hearing was the same actually.
So he's not quite sneak thiefifying, but Leslok is definitely treading softly. But you catch him because clearly you also have ears out. For apparently we're scared of spiders made of shadows to come boiling out of the ground. You put a space by the way down.
Look, that's a reference to what he was at the other side.
Yeah, no, I know that you meant it as like, listen, I've done some sorceress shit, I've seen some real freak show stuff, but apparently that's a thing we're being worried about.
Listen, it doesn't come up, but Inos is constantly on
work?
Edge during the nights and whatnot.
Yeah.
Does matching it work?
Yes, I believe in this case, the...
Alright, well then I do hear this confrontation.
But yes, anything further when we reset to normal of Marquess, why are you sneaking around like a sneaky thief?
I was going to announce myself, but I didn't want to stop. I didn't actually want to interrupt.
Well, there wasn't much we were talking about, just a bit of swapping stories. Realized I didn't know much about Moira before she got here, and I wanted to rectify that. But, like I said, I do not want to keep her. She seems like she has her work, so I will retire for the evening. If you have anything you wish to say to her, cuz, go right ahead. I will see you all in the morning. Good night.
Rest well.
Good night.
Oh, for the love of...
Oh no, I wasn't. Don't worry, Inos. I wasn't listening in on your conversation. I just saw you. Pick the little marquee out of the bushes. Anyway, good night.
Yeah, Conrad's
Sleeping.
Anyway, Enos will go retire for the night.
Yeah. Nicola's probably not going to be asleep for another 2 hours because he's still to finish his fucking compasses.
Yeah, Moira goes back to probably getting components together and sharpening blades. Skyrim blacksmith noises. Alright, nice to meet.
You get to the Cloud District very often.
Sorry. Moira, do you think the way my father lived is the way people should?
I think she just freezes dead mid whetstone swipe. Pauses, thinks about it, kind of puts the blade down, spins on the stool to you, classic reverse style, and says, "I don't know how much of that previous conversation, Your Lordship, you heard, but
More the second half.
I would like to reiterate the part where I barely know how to read and write, and most of my life is not spent focused on making swords or holding swords." She kind of gestures at herself. It's not going great. I wasn't exactly a rich merchant or anything, so I can't really be considered an expert in this. If you want my personal opinion, she kind of pauses, clears her throat a little and says, "Leofric was great, as his greatness was plain for everyone to see. Honestly, I think a couple of folks might have reckoned that he was a better fit for the position than his brother. But Wulfric was first. He was very normal, I think. Never met him myself, but everything I heard about him, he was, what you'd expect out of a Marquess. Holed up in Teine, practiced as a Landsknecht, patrolled the roads in winter."
I don't remember if Logesh ever talked about it, but I think he family says his father was at least a stern man. He stuck to his values.
I mean, I don't think Logesh would know. I think Logesh was a year old when he died.
Just a wee little baby.
But yeah, no. You've probably heard stories and maybe even talked to Leofric about it. He probably would have, had to explain it at some point. As I'm sure there was at some point one of you 4 children, or 5 if you count Inos fostering, had to ask hey, why doesn't Logesh have a mommy and daddy? But we call him Cousin Logesh. Well, son, you have to understand. Anyway.
Yeah.
But no, so she says, he had that, whole torch thing going on with him. I can't say if it was the best way to live your life, because, quite frankly, if everyone all the time was all up in everybody's business, you'd never get anything done. But it was how he lived, and if Lord Eberhard is to be bereaved, kind of how he died. If you're going to live your life, both for yourself and for your new fiancé, keep in mind, and also for your whole house, which you are responsible for, which is a little, crazy if you think about it.
I don't think about that much intentionally.
I mean, he can go back and do it.
This is only 15
take
minutes.
The thing.
I was going to take them after I got done with the conversation.
Then yeah, Leslok may have not memorized all of them.
No, I probably memorized only.
I specifically asked Konrad for them so I can start working on them.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, he could probably have memorized one, but yeah, he probably overheard this thing going on and moved on. Anyway, right. Moira says you've got to think about not just yourself, like I said, and all that stuff. What's best for you? Like I said at the table at the meeting earlier, I don't know how many swords it takes to change the world, but it's a lot. More than one person can hold, for sure. So, and I haven't the bloody foggiest how many words or books or anything like that it takes to change the world. Don't know how many spells it takes to change the world. Don't know how many boats it takes. Any of that.
Honestly, I'm more thinking how many bullets it will take to change the world.
Well, I'm not an expert in that either, but I suspect it's much like swords, sadly.
Yes.
Because someone might say, you take one bullet. She does the classic finger gun gesture, because I think that analogy works, at the air, and it's just like, pow. Well, you've shot the High King. That'll change the world, right? Except that you're going to make a lot of people angry.
I like
You have
having
to deal with
him
his
around,
son.
actually.
You have to deal with his other son, his third daughter, his wife, by the way, who will probably be very miffed at you. And
He'll
she's gonna
probably
spot it
cleave
too.
me in half.
That's what I mean. And then, his brother and his brother's daughter, who, in your case, you're married to, which also means anyone who decides to take a bullet to the High King technically is supposed to deal with you, even after we talk about all the stuff about, honor and loyalty into the king. Which means also, by the way, someone is pissed off all of the 9 houses and so on and so forth. Adds up to a lot of bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem is you're going to run into more enemies than you have bullets in your pocket. She kind of nods her head to where I'm sure you have Leofric's old pepper box, at your hip or shoulder.
Leslok is weird. He carries 2. Like, I don't think most people carry 2.
Honestly, actually, yes, most people do probably carry a couple or braces of pistols.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she nods where you've got him and says, "I reckon Leofric was always fond of his little pepper box, they call it. Carries a lot of bullets, but you probably don't carry enough to deal with all your enemies. And enemies you're gonna have, because they're gonna be people who don't want you where you are. They're gonna be people who don't want you in their business, and they're gonna be people you meet sometimes in this life who just plain don't like you. They're just ornery. I don't understand it, but I've met a lot of them.
Which is why, once I amass that, I'm just going to make everything around them be dragged forward against their will. If I change enough about the world, everything will have to follow suit."
Moira kind of smiles and says, You're a lot like your old man. Gotta be careful, though. A lot of people don't like the light." She, points up at the lamp she's got going. You might think lots of people don't know, light's great. You can read, you can work, you can eat, but sometimes it's bright, hurts your eyes, burns the skin, shows people what they got going on. You're talking about shedding an awful lot of light on the world, and there are going to be people who are going to be bothered by that just because you're trying to do it, let alone the people who you're actually shining lights on, Also, I don't know if you do know about this about the world, considering your youth, but there are some people in power who control the lights, if you know what I mean. They control where lights are pointed and how they're fueled and all that. And some of them are going to ask questions. Marquess, why are you using up our precious lights to shine lights on these things going on that don't matter? Oh, Marquess, you don't need to shine that light. My cousin will shine that light for 2 pence less. That kind of thing. So you're going to have to watch out on both ends. I think I heard Axe cough at the end there.
I laughed.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm cursed that I only think about what things will be like in 5 years from now.
Oh, I've known a few people like that.
I think about how Konrad could become a Banner Lord. I think about how Logesh could probably become a prolific general if he tried. Nicola probably will create some form of new alchemy or destroy something irrevocably impossible. And Inos will become one of the greatest craftsmen known across the land.
It's pronounced irrevocably. If you're going to insult me, do it correctly.
Alright, fair enough.
Well, about your 5-year plan, your lordship, I think technically Inos has already met that one. At least once word of the box gets out.
True. But I feel like he's going to make many things that will maybe outclass that. At least I have plans for that.
You have plans, excuse me?
Yeah, I think he's thinking about Summer Court. He's going to build a whole team of enchanters to make some fucking bullshit.
I believe I'm the one is probably going to have to do that plan.
It's going to be a group job.
You're going to need a lot of things. Anyway, continue.
Also the Great Fair at some point. There's also a lot of talent in the world that hasn't been harnessed, because they've not been given the right means to do so. All for me to pluck. I just have to find it.
Now you're thinking like Leslok Logi, son of the lion, and not Leofric Logi, the young lion. That's one thing I will say. Leofric attracted talented people to him like moths to a flame. He didn't really go out and get them. You're talking about something a little different. Going out, finding the right people to do the jobs you need. Which is good. You're learning from our conversation last night about delegating. Moira kind of, looks up at the stars and says, I don't know nothing about changing the world. Never tried, which may possibly be a lie, but I've got simple goals, alright? You've employed me to look after your sister, and also, I guess, as fencing master to make sure that the whole lot of you...
We stop getting stabbed.
Yes, are hit with swords less. I can't make any promises about stopping completely.
I'm doing it tomorrow. You're gonna prove
But
that
less.
Konrad knows how to parry.
And actually, you did okay at it, but unfortunately,
Better just rolled really well.
rolls are annoying.
Yeah,
Konrad
Miles
rolled
rolled
pretty
pretty
well.
good.
This is the way the book actually does talk about tactics for unworthies of, choke points and other strategic shit. Limit how many guys can come at you. Anyway, But yeah,
Yeah,
Moira
it's like-
says, so that's, it's my responsibility. Honestly, if you wanted a sympathetic ear to talk about this, I know you came to ask about Leofric, but if you want to talk about your own plans, you should probably share those with, them's gestures
I
in
know.
the house.
Though it's complicated, and then I actually want to have a plan that I can tell them all the steps to instead of just saying what I want to do.
Now that, I think, is where you're wrong, your lordship. Like we said last night, you're the Marquess. You don't have to do everything yourself. You should feel free to be that flame that, lights up the way. You tell them, I want to do this or that or the other thing. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on the story because I wasn't there for all of it, but isn't that kind of how you did the thing with the engagement? I assume you asked Inos, but he probably got some help from Nicola about the hairpin, and then, you just kind of put it all together.
He didn't hear it from me, but I also think he put it in a paper.
We can an empathy roll about that one, but...
Yeah, you're gonna have to make a roll, my dude. I didn't tell anyone I was doing that.
That would probably, you should probably try and make an empathy roll, which would be opposed by Enos's charm plus lie, I think, because I assume you were trying not to sound like yourself.
Yeah.
To see if Leslok or anybody could tell that you wrote something.
I'm not going to try.
Also, Aren exploded. While Aren is exploded, I'm going to pause my recording and step away for a sec, because I need it.
Okay.
I think Steve tried to try and
Yeah, free
download
wit.
something, and my internet was like, nope.
I said more, sorry. I said more, not four.
Yeah, it does that to
no,
me occasionally.
I don't think it matters.
Yes, because you're technically trying to defend to pierce the lie, and you don't have enough height.
Yeah, so whatever. It's
Well,
I just try to sound fucking knowledgeable about something, and I always fucking stupid it.
Well, I think in this case, it's your. Sometimes you try to cheat a little, I guess, is what I'll say, and skip to know things that you know out of character that you wouldn't know in character, because Enos is actually trying to conceal this from you, as far as I understand, as evidenced by the line roll.
Synonym.
Alright, then it's more...
Anyway, yeah, we were in the conversation where, Moira talked about the engagement process.
I guess you didn't hear it from me, but I like to think that Enos likes playing around with people's lives more than he likes just to say.
Well, I mean, obviously. I've met him.
That's super fucking fair.
But, like I said, that's your position. You're the head of the house. Rest of them, they're all, think of them like... Sorry, I'm doing some very weird gestures right now, but, she, holds up, like an arm. Think of them like your arms, your fingers, your wrists and stuff. Your feet, your knees, all that stuff.
It's a weird feeling to know that your left hand won't rip your heart out of your chest.
What?
What? Never mind. Stupid.
That's a great one. Moira kind of crooks her eyebrow and says, listen, I know we got a lot of stuff out there, but, honestly, genuinely, I don't think there's anyone in that house who really wishes you ill.
I don't think of it like that. Or...
Well, sir, I have noticed you've got a tendency to be poetic. Goes back to sharpening a sword. You have to forgive me if I'm not real good at that neither.
No, it's my own fault, really. I feel like I can't say something unless it has actual meaning to it.
Well, it's a better thought than most nobles I've known. A lot of them just say whatever, regardless of saying. But if you want to be so bloody serious all the time, you gotta mean it. And like I said, you can just, say things. Just say, oh, Moira Two Swords, go find that Madame Faline and, thrash her for me. And then I'll have to, kip up.
Okay,
She does jumps up, clicks her heels, does a mock salute. I'll have to kip off and go do it.
Okay, then. One day Aurelia will want to kill a whole cult. You will help her.
Oh, that was all. I already knew that one. She kind of smiles and sits back down to sharpen her sword. If you don't mind me saying, I hope you don't mind me saying, Marquess, but that I'd be doing for her. And on account of knowing your mother many years, rather than just because you told me. I was thinking of things more outside my normal job description.
Fair enough.
How to wear a dress and say please and thank you.
Oh,
Do not do
God.
that. I will stab you.
I know, I'm a menace. Leave me alone.
Yes, you are. You should get,
If you start
there
doing
should be
shit
an
like
advantage
this,
called Menace or something.
Konrad will be the new Marquis.
He
Oh,
won't
I need a
want that.
problem that just is just gremlin. I have to just make problems for people.
I mean, honestly, that's probably more of, yawning, craving
True enough.
to be out here and just if I gave an NPC that craving, it would be, I don't want peace, only problems. Because you guys haven't seen because I don't share them a lot, and you guys don't have a lot of the ability to dig deep in them. But I do tend to get a little evocative with when I write cravings and duties.
Oh, yeah,
Missions
no,
are
I've
usually
seen-
much more straightforward.
No, Margaret's is great.
Yeah.
I imagine that there's one probably they just want to see watch the world burn.
It's another one that would probably work out pretty good. I think one of the Espada siblings has the fucking "a soul desires a sword" line. I don't remember which one of the three.
Yes, the Soul Calibur line.
Yeah, no, like that's just those are our vibes. But yeah, anything further to say to Moira? Your
I think he'll leave her be.
Your Marquess, your Morkship. And she says, as you probably turn to go, she says, while she's still working, says, "But I'll work on a few things for here. But let me know if you need a new buckler, your lordship. Though I have noticed you have not been stabbed quite so many times as the rest of your kin.
I won't let myself die to a blade or poison.
Good policy." Sorry, once again, whenever I start making that sound, my brain just plays, like I said, Skyrim Blacksmith Ambient, just going to the armor table, the wheel sound,
level up sound.
Yeah.
I'll go.
The fucking shoveling sound when you fire up when you're smelting, Anyway.
I'm gonna double check my fucking goal list right now. It's been down.
Well, in that case, my sudden case of the yawnies may impact your opinion on this, but it is, almost midnight. We have been recording for about 3.25 hours. So what I was going to ask while I was away at the turlet was, do you guys want to wrap up here and then start next session, probably skipping through several hours of, information gathering, possibly rolling out your own stuff if you want to do any footwork as well, to jump to, picking on somebody's door.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll say yeah.
Yeah. Or,
I think I dribble we did, but I don't think we did much at all.
That sounds good.
This was much like our Come to Jesus meeting at the start of the week. We've had a second Come to Jesus meeting at the end of the week. We really need to start time skipping so that your Come to Jesus meetings are farther apart. This is what Inos was saying when he was like, "Oh God, Moira, you have only been here a week."
Like, honestly, I keep pressing the zoom out. Listen, I keep pressing the zoom out button. They keep saying I can't do it yet.
Yeah, you can't.
It's coming from the person who decided to piggyback off of someone's conversation to make it go longer.
It went for over an hour, and I was having fun.
Games where all of the important shit happens in 6 weeks, and then you have a 3-year time skip.
Honestly, yes,
that kind of did happen. That already happened with the prologue, but that was intentional. No, the time will flash by much faster, especially once you guys get you back in boats. That's what Moira's joke was about, was, saying you guys need to take more boats. That's how she and Leofric killed the most amount of time. God, we were moving when you guys were on a boat.
Ironically, anyway. I actually don't think I need to add new goals to my list. It's already all here.
But yes, I'm good. I have nothing to do. I have things I want to do, but like I said, that's nothing that requires a scene right now.
All right. Well, for the sake of bookkeeping, so we don't have to remember to do it next time, I'm pretty sure last session, Nicola, almost forgot your name for a second, rolled healing on both Konrad and Logesh. So by the next day, you guys will have taken your day of rest, and I believe that means that you can remove 1 point. You can convert 1 point of killing anywhere to shock.
Yeah.
And then after a good night's rest, both of you can roll body plus vigor to attempt to remove shock damage, which you should probably be pretty good at, but we'll see.
Yeah, get rid of the shock.
Yeah, and I can't remember if they fed you a fucking healing potion in the morning either. I do know that Nicola has not sat down and made more healing potions, so I don't know about on the future days, but...
No one has asked me to make healing potions.
That's not true. Your Marquess, I
have asked you multiple times
straight up said...
Make healing potions for them.
Okay, alright, I'll make a healing
I've asked
potion.
you this 3 times this day.
Like I said, I definitely distinctly remember it happening at least once.
I remember I asked during dinner, I asked during the meeting, and I asked maybe afterwards.
I don't even know how many you're making right now. Don't roll it out. We have to figure out later.
I'm going to call you out. I don't think you've asked that many times.
Okay, I think at least asked twice.
Once.
Yeah.
I think it was at dinner, and it may have come up again during the meeting.
Anyway,
the meeting today?
Yeah.
I might have been referring, it's you just don't do what I tell you.
Yeah, you
that,
might have referred for that, but that's
if you
not
said that part
it.
at the meeting, that was if you meant to refer to the potion specifically, I don't think that was picked up on. But like I said, I remember, I'm pretty sure it was at dinner you specifically said when talking about, I think it was as Konrad and Logesh were talking about fighting each other, you, sighed and turned to Nicola and were like, Nicola, make sure to brew some healing potions for these guys.
Yes, it was like that.
Anyway, like I said, you don't need to roll right now because I don't even know how many you're making right away, and it takes you what?
I was just making a healing potion. You go over to my. Alright.
It takes
We'll
5
figure
minutes
it out tomorrow.
We're time skipping.
I also
most
would
of the
like
day.
Logesh to roll body plus vigor as well ahead of time, just so we can start swooshing boxes.
Let's see here. Double chicken. I felt like for a second I thought I said double chicken.
Two
Double
chickens.
chicken. Anyway, yeah, you should heal at least. I think it's within shock, so knock up to 2 shock damage points away.
Oh, good. That's the amount of shock I had after that. Convert kill to shock. So now I've only got 3 killing in my body.
A lovely amount. Don't worry. Nicola will brew you some healing potions.
If he gets
to maybe
with
turn
3,
more
you're
of that
just
into
good.
Shock. I believe healing potion is still removes shock damage, then converts killing to shock. I just removed the locational requirements. Anyway, I think that's going to be the session. Next time, like I said, we're gonna let your boys do a little bit of legwork and get back, and then the next session should probably be entirely the final hunt for the silver tongue,
And
then
probably then skip a few days.
yeah, and then you guys... actually, this is the thing I talked about with Aren before we got started, but I kind of thought might happen at the main meeting, but we were much more, like, emotional and personal about that. At some point, you guys are going to need to decide, like, who is going back, on the boat back to Teine right away, because you don't want to drag your entire entourage with you on the Prince trip, so there's a few people
We
you
need,
can
like,
scooch back.
We continue to take the load with them.
Also true, yes, you're sending that
Yeah, we
back.
got the big boat.
We'll
My
figure
sister
that
is
out
coming.
in the time skip over the next couple of days. I think everybody, you were all present, and I think you all did a wonderful job of being in character, so that's at least 2 points.
Yay.
I probably should have had Nicola reroll for his jinx somewhere, but I don't think any of them were funny enough. Usually he fails the checks that are going to be funny. So yeah, I don't know if, and I'm pretty sure nobody cleared any other missions or anything because,
I'd like to say I did. I did bury the hatchet remora.
oh, that's right. That was your mission. Yeah,
Yeah.
that did actually take you a couple sessions to do, but you did do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can think of your next project.
Probably discover the history of dragons and...
That's a reasonable thing. That'll take you about a week, probably.
Yeah. What was the name? Oh, God, what was the name of Nerissa's castle?
Weirwind Keep.
Weirwind Keep. Discover the secrets of dragons in Weirwind Keep.
I will tape it for you again. It's a lovely castle. We get to... hey, guess what? I hope you guys like me to make cool architecture statements as I get to describe castles and towns and shit.
Oh, that's how you spell it. Weird. Okay.
Yes, Weirwind.
Weirwind Keep.
It is listed on her Dramatic Personae if you ever need to look it up again.
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those things of like, I could go look it up, or I can just yell into the void and see what comes back.
That's fair.
Yeah, I know. It's a funny spell.
I wasn't
Okay.
even sure it was there.
No, it is there because she's the Lady of Weirwind Keep. But, so that's your EXPs. I wish you to go about your business. We'll see everybody next time. Like, comment, and subscribe and stuff, and we'll be back for more rain.
Subscribe and stuff.